morning. I'm Eric Reeser. College football's transfer portal closes today. We're almost there, Buckeye fans. Ohio State added 3 portal players Thursday. Alabama corner Cam Calhoun, Georgia corner Dominic Kelly, and 7th-year Florida running back Jacoby Jackson. That's 15 portal players added since January 2, compared to 30 that have left, 12 of whom are still looking for a landing spot. Also Thursday, Kenyatta Jackson and Jermaine Matthews announced they're returning to Ohio State in 2026. There's still a championship game to be played this coming Monday night in Miami. Indiana's an 8.5-point favorite over the University of Miami. On the ice last night at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets made it 3 straight with a 4-1 win over the Canucks. Elvis Merzlikins had 30 saves in his first win in net since early December. Jackets are at the Penguins on Saturday. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lesmerises joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only 2 guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Football Friday edition of the program. Bo, the boys with you for the next 10 o'clock. We're going to do the unthinkable and attempt to take an early look at what we think will be the preseason top 5 teams now that the portal is closing today. Speaking of that portal, get you updated on where the Buckeyes are, what still needs to be tracked down there in terms of the roster building. Tim May going to join us at 10:30, 11 o'clock. What we learned this week at 11:30, Doug Lesmerises will join as is customary at that time in that time slot. I'm going to put myself on. I want to go to man court, and I think this could be on me. They say all the time the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I feel like that's where I am with the kid drop-off line. I think that now it's on me at this point. I've documented this before, but just a reminder for you. So we have what amounts to about 3 blocks of distance. So if you can envision it in your head, a northbound street for 1 block, and then you make a right or a left, depending on which way you're coming from. But if you make a right into the middle school building, you then have what amounts to, it's all school property, but it amounts to about a 2-block straight line, and then you have a semicircle for drop-off. As I've said many times, the tardy bell rings at 7:49, and they lock the doors at 7:49. That's when they lock the doors. Up until 7:40, they have administrators and teachers and volunteer students that wave the cars around so that you can drop into the semicircle, so that you can drop off upwards of a dozen kids at a time, at least maybe like 14 cars at a time. So 14 students get out at a time. So obviously you're dropping off 14 at a time. The line moves pretty quickly. At 7:40, those waivers go in. Now, my contention is at least a couple should stay out there, because why? Because we are not a good society in any way, shape, or form. So as soon as those waivers go in, the first car, this happens every single day. The very first car, as soon as the waivers go in, instead of pulling all the way around so that 14 cars can let out, it stops right in front of the door so that at most 6 cars can get out. And in some instances, it's only like 4. If they stop way too soon, it's upwards of only 4 kids can get out at a time. So when this happens, what used to be a very fast, efficient line with zipper merges and all of these things that works pretty smoothly, it becomes a traffic jam. So today, we left the house 7:25, which is pretty customary. It takes about 11 minutes to get there normally. We were 3 blocks out. Okay, the northbound block and then the 2 blocks of school property out by 7:39. By 7:39. So you have 9 minutes to go 3 blocks. And if waivers are out, no problem. But of course, 7:40 waivers don't go out, and the parents of little Susie and little Timmy can't have them walking an extra 20 paces. It's too much in this cold. Little Timmy can't walk that far. Little Timmy got to walk right in front, 2 steps into the door, too far. Because, of course, he's not wearing a coat because no teenager wears a coat these days. So Beamsy's starting to panic because he's Abraham Lincoln. And they already got a tardy earlier this week for the exact same thing. By the way, they handed out 100 tardies because there's 100 cars behind. So, I mean, they must have handed out 100 of them. And they should. They should do that. That it's not on them. Other than maybe the waivers staying out. Maybe that part's on them a little bit, just because we can't hold anybody accountable for themselves. So Beamsy goes, we're 3 blocks away. We have 8 minutes. That's not our fault. And NBC jumps all over that. And he's like, yeah, we didn't do anything. We're here. It's 7:39. We're good. This isn't our fault. And I'm boiling because I know what's happening. I know that we're letting out 3 kids at a time instead of 14. And it occurs to me, no, it is our fault. It is our fault. It's our fault that we haven't learned that people will not pull forward, and therefore we have to factor this into our travels. We have to factor in that this is the norm, that people will not be personally responsible, will not take care of their fellow citizen, and instead will make sure little Timmy and little Susie have 2 steps in instead of 22 steps in to the gate, to the doors. That's known now. So I said, it is on us. And they, well, what do you mean? We're here. No, we're not. We're not here. And so my resolution to this was, from now on, we got to leave at 7:20. So now they're upset because who wants to leave to school 5 minutes earlier and be there? But at this point, it's on us now, right? Like, I can only complain so much about the process without me having to do something on my own. And this is on me now. And this is where I'm at with it, fellas, is that at this point, society has failed me. It's on me to change the pattern.
Yeah. I mean, you see that correctly. I mean, here needs to now be butt in seat.
Yep.
In classroom. That is here. Here is no longer waiting for the front car to move or a car in front of you to move, or here is no longer in the front door or hand on the front door handle. Here is butt in seat. And so however long it takes to get you from your house to butt in seat. If you have butt in seat at 8 o'clock, however long it takes is, now however long it takes, because it's only going to get worse. Like, things aren't getting better in those kinds of regards. Like, I think we're still off to a roaring start with cars into buildings in the central Ohio area. So what I had thought would be a better 2026 in terms of driving around here, no, it's not the case.
Bo, it's kind of like when it's snowy or icy out.
Yeah.
You got to get up. You got to leave 10, 15 minutes early if you want to be on time, because you just know.
You know what's coming.
You know what's on the way. Is there's going to be stupidity. There's going to be inevitable. There's going to be unavoidable, and you just have to plan accordingly.
To that end, I would also say that if you are, and I've driven a semi a lot, like much of my middle school and high school was spent driving grain trucks.
Middle school?
Yeah, that's right.
I
By
mean,
13, I was driving a semi.
out there, nobody's paying
Who's pulling you over?
Well, I mean, we were driving when we were 12 in Tennessee. So when I visited my cousins.
I'm pretty sure in Montana, if you're driving an agricultural vehicle, that you can be 12, which makes no sense because a semi truck loaded with wheat or barley is essentially a missile.
You ain't stopping.
No. That Jake brake only does so much, boys. It only does so much. But so for all my friends out there, when it gets a little snowy and a little icy, look, I understand that your traction is great because you have all that weight and you have all of that friction with tires all over your equipment. The problem is when you try to stop that thing. That's the problem. So take 10 miles an hour off. Give me 10 miles an hour off and let's just see what happens. Let's try to avoid situations where entire freeways are closed for certain amounts of time because we get 6 jackknife trucks in this thing. Like, it's the stopping them that's the problem. It's not the driving them. It's the stopping them. When somebody spins out, some car spins out, you're cooked. I had something the other day. When did we have was yesterday the big snow? Was it
Tuesday night into Wednesday?
Tuesday night into Wednesday.
Yeah.
The days all go together. Tuesday night into Wednesday. I had a situation where an ambulance, there was an ambulance with lights flashing. They were trying to get cars to move out of the way, but there wasn't really a berm because the snow was so significant and the wind was blowing so hard that if one of these cars pulled into the berm, they weren't getting out of the berm. I mean, they just weren't. There was just nowhere for them to go. So for everybody, just exercise a little bit of patience in all of this stuff. I mean, obviously it's all good now, but like when we're going to get another one of these at some point.
But I'd say it's timely because we've got snow in the forecast this weekend. So when you're doing, youth sports or whatever you're doing on the roads, just be patient, please.
Chill out just a little. Just chill out just a little. Speaking of chill out just a little, it seems like, and I'll get it fixed. We're going to leave 5 minutes earlier. That's the final summation of all of that. Speaking of chilling out, I'm wondering if Buckeye Fan is chilling out based on where this class is now. More portal additions from last night, some that make sense, some that maybe don't, and maybe a miss that happened in there as well. But these are the days of our lives that we've chosen in terms of college football. We'll get you updated on all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Got this. Breathe. You got this. You got this.
In the moments that truly matter, what do? Rise to the occasion. Ohio Health. It's time.
Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day.
My furnace stopped working. Your competition said it's fried. When I saw their cost to replace it, I could have just died.
We can give a second opinion, give you options and advice. We'll strive to earn your trust and make you a client for life.
Get a free second opinion, replace or repair.
Call 614-683-9911. Call the folks at Buckeye, night or day.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
I suffered with plantar fasciitis for almost 20 years. I would try drugstore insoles and supports.
If you suffer with plantar fasciitis, we know the search for pain relief can feel like a hopeless ordeal.
I've been through surgeries, foot injections. I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life.
At the Good Feet store, we hear stories every day of all kinds of cheap inserts, expensive shoes, and other failed remedies people have tried that just didn't work.
I was trying all different things. Not a single one worked. And then I was driving past the Good Feet store, and I thought, why not? Give it a try. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support for my feet. Then it was like, okay, this is different. These make a difference.
I'm so glad I met Good Feet. It changed my life.
Don't lose hope. Give the Good Feet store a try. Visit the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road at Grove City.
What does it mean to live here, serve here in the Ohio Army National Guard?
It means I can attend college full-time and not have to take out student loans to pay for my tuition.
It means I can work my civilian job during the week and support my state and nation in times of need.
You too can live here, serve here as a member of the Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with full-time benefits at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard in coordination with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Join Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week, but not OJ because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live. For the better of myself, my family, my weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
They didn't have skim milk for your coffee, so I just got formaldehyde.
Oh, isn't that stuff in floor cleaner?
Pizza's here. Would you like cheese on that? Or how about a Crolian?
Oh, no, that's in bug spray.
Hi there. Would you like to sample our new scent? Diethylene glycol.
Isn't that the stuff in antifreeze?
You wouldn't want to eat it, drink it, or even smell it, but that's exactly what's in your vapes. If you vape, quit. If you don't vape, don't start. For help, go to odh.ohio.gov/no vapes. A message from the Ohio Department of Health.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Scattered snow showers today, otherwise cloudy skies and breezy with temperatures in the upper 30s. Chances of snow continue overnight with our lows at or below freezing. As we go into Saturday, there will be a chance of snow for the first half of the day. Otherwise, skies turn mostly cloudy with temperatures right around the freezing mark. Winds will still be a bit on the breezy side, and accumulations could be anywhere between 1 to maybe 2 inches. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Are you working? Because we barely are. It's Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football and quiet quitting. The Fan. Distilled sports discussion. Served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
I was talking with a buddy of mine, big booster, and medium, but one of these guys who's locked in on all this stuff, and was sending me, he'll send me like the updates and stuff. He does a little bit like Beamsy does, where Beamsy will come down and tell me like, hey Dad, the Buckeyes play UCLA Saturday at 1. Yeah, I know. This is what I do. I'm aware of that, buddy. But I just say, thanks, pal. Thank you for passing along information. I appreciate it. So this buddy of mine does similar. He'll be like, hey, they got, Sonny Styles is going pro, or Jermaine Matthews is returning, or whatever it may be. And I'm like, yeah, I'm following the same folks you are. We're seeing all the same things and stuff that's out there. But one of the things that I found has been pretty interesting about all of this is the excitement that you used to have in recruiting, where you would take, recruiting experts' word for it, like Berm, right? So you listen to Berm. Berm goes, this guy's the real deal. And you go, well, you got to, and Berm's one of the best. And you'd say, well, he knows. He's talked to folks, and they know what this guy's all about, and he's going to give a player comp for us, and so forth and so on. And that excitement that's been reserved for recruiting for all of these years is still there. But now that you see it, it's being transferred a little bit onto the transfer portal. And so when you hear that Ohio State gets a couple of players from Alabama, in total 3. They get a running back from Florida. They get a defensive back from Georgia. You go, whoa, Buckeyes are crushing it. They're going into the SEC, and they're pulling 3 starters out of Alabama's defense, and they're all coming up here. Or a corner out of Georgia, or a running back out of Florida. They're pulling them all up here. But it goes to kind of a bigger point of nobody really knows. You won't know how good any of these guys are or what their impact will be. There are some instances where it's known, like Sam Levitt's known. He's going to go to LSU and he's going to play really well. We've seen him play a lot of football. But the idea that anybody out there watched enough Georgia football to know if Dominic Kelly can be somebody who can come in here and start right away and be a lockdown quarter like IGB, you're kidding yourself, unless you just watch Georgia football all year and would have a point of reference on that. The same thing of James Smith or Kwai Rassah or Cam Coleman, who hopped in, who, by the way, was at Michigan before that. Jacoby Jackson, do I have this right? He's in his 7th year?
Yep.
Of college football?
That's correct.
The kid from Florida? How?
I believe we missed this too, Bo. Hunter Welsing, the tight end that's coming from Northwestern. He will also be in his 7th year of college football. These are 2 kids from the 2020 recruiting class. Ohio State this past year had nobody from the 2020 recruiting class.
How is that even possible? How is 7 years possible? So you're going to get a COVID and you get a red shirt. Okay, that's 2.
And then you probably got a medical red shirt as well in there.
I mean, I'm happy to have him, but like is this a 24-year-old man? It's coming here, 25-year-old man. Like, is that what we're dealing with?
And
it is.
And it sucks a
wild.
little for these high school kids that want spots.
Oh, that's over.
Yeah.
That's over. I don't think you will see, other than the top end of it, the Chris Henrys, the Jeremiah Smiths, those type of cats that you compensate and you expect them to play right away. I think what recruiting will, I think it's the medium. My theory on this is that you will see 3-star. I think that what Ohio State will do in recruiting is they will try to get a handful of guys, 5 or 6, that they think can come in and compete right away and play right away. And that they'll still big game hunt at the very top of the board in terms of players who could come in here. And I think they'll still be very active in that. But then I think you're not going to go to battle for 4-star guys who are developmental players. I don't think you're going to do that. I don't think you're going to get into bidding wars for 4-star guys. And the only reason I'm using the 4 and 5-star, because trust me, I'm aware that Indiana doesn't have any 5-stars and they're playing for the national title and are prohibitive favorites. I get it. But that's all transfer stuff, right? So the only reason I'm using it is just to identify how guys are viewed. So I don't think they're going to, if there is a 4-star tackle or even a 5-star tackle that they're in on, I don't even know if they'll be in on them anymore. But even if they are, and it comes down to a bidding war between them and Tennessee, then just go to Tennessee. We'll see in 2 years. I don't think you do that. So I think what the recruiting classes will be 5 to 6 high-end, ultra high-end, give a chance to compete right away guys. And then I think the middle class of a recruiting class is going to almost entirely disappear. And I think what then you're going to have is a baseline of 3 and low 4-star guys who are Ohioans, who understand the patience that comes with and view that there is a currency to being a Buckeye. That's what I think these recruiting classes are going to look like. I think they're going to be made up of between 15 and 20 guys. I don't think you're ever going to see a 28-teamer again, 28-player again. And I think that's how you got to go about your business. And then you're going to live in this portal world and try and pull the guys that you want. But they were in on the Desir twins, the kids from Florida State, but their buyout at Florida State was too big. Got this from the Florida State side of it. And so those two kids this morning, I wake up and I see they're getting a new NIL deal to stay at Florida State. Well, they were trying to come here, but they couldn't get out of whatever contract they have. And then, so the pushback to that would be, if you've listened regularly, what contract? None of these things are enforceable. So I don't know. But you talk yourself into, and this is kind of the overarching thing, you talk yourself into being excited about players who, in some instances and in many instances, you had no interest in the recruiting process.
Yeah, you look at whatever stars they've accumulated since being in college. And
yeah.
You weigh those for some strange reason. Yeah, I've never been the high school football recruit guy. I've even less so with the transfer portal recruits, because Ohio State's landed some pretty big fish in terms of guys on the offensive line that I was told or had played really well at the colleges before they landed at Ohio State. Then when they got to Ohio State, they didn't do anything.
Yeah,
and so you have to be. And I was thinking about basketball the other day with Great Osborne from Washington, because I think UCLA is in a similar situation where they landed a really big fish in the transfer portal and he's done nothing for the Bruins, who will be in town tomorrow in a game you can hear on the Fan at 1 o'clock. But it's all of these portal guys, they've played really well at one location, so they get all of these stars attributed to them, and they the tackle from Colorado. It's like what in any world is Ohio State have any interest in getting into a bidding war for him?
At least it's known a little bit. Like, he was an all Big Ten guy, so at least you're getting a stud left tackle, whoever gets him. Like, he's a little bit known. The Great Osabar's example is a really great one, Reese, because that kid's he's from England. He was discovered by Danny Sprinkle, who's a Montana State guy, same age as me, and was the coach at Montana State. So they find him in England. He's stand out at Montana State. They make the playoff. They make the tournament a couple years in a row. Danny gets the job at Utah State. He brings Great Osabar with him. Danny is at Utah State for 1 year. Then Washington job comes open, and he goes to Washington, takes Great Osabar with him. So now Great Osabar has gotten paid at Utah State. He's been richly compensated at Washington, and they got nothing out of it last year. It's even riskier in hoops. Look at Kentucky. Look at Kentucky's roster in basketball, and I know you're not knee deep in the muck on that, nor am I, but NBC watches them. They spent millions on predominantly veteran portal players, known veteran portal players, SEC guys, all SEC type guys, brought them into Kentucky. they can't get them to row in the same direction at all. And so that's the gamble you play every single year. And when you miss on one of them, someone's going to be held accountable. At Kentucky, it's probably going to be Mark Pope. Like, folks don't like losing their money without getting an ROI on it. And you will see more and more of that. The reality is, I don't know if any of these guys are the difference makers. It almost feels to me a little bit, Bake, like it's almost like prospect musical chairs.
Yeah, it sure seems like that. And we've talked about, is there enough seats for everyone in this? What It seems like Ohio State is doing here, and I don't know if people, it's just so different than what we're used to. So people are having a hard time digesting all of it and wrapping their head around it and figuring out what's the way to go and what isn't. It seems like with what Ohio State is doing, especially this year in the portal, they've locked down their starters. Mm-hmm. What they're adding in the portal is depth pieces for the most part. Now, the safeties, I think, are a little different. In Terry Moore and Earl Little, I think you'll see those guys maybe start. Earl Little maybe be the guy that starts at the nickel for Ohio State, and Terry Moore starting next to Jalen McClain in that Caleb Downs role, which probably isn't fair that we say that.
Yeah, we got to stop.
We shouldn't compare anyone to Caleb Downs, so Terry Moore could probably have a really good year, and he still wouldn't be Caleb Downs, so that's probably not fair for us to do. But it just seems like Cam Calhoun, he's coming in here to be a backup to Devin Sanchez and Jermaine Matthews, and if he gives them some competition and pushes them a little bit, great. Maybe he or Dominic Kelly. And Dominic Kelly, I like this. He's a kid he's got 3 years of eligibility left.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that could come in and help you this year as far as depth and maybe be a starter down the road for you, possibly, if he's someone you decide you want to keep. But it seems like Ohio State, and this is probably because of where they've been in the transfer portal before now, they've gotten their starters. And they locked those guys down and kept them down. Like we talk about, Jeremiah is going to be a junior. Julian Sands going to be a redshirt sophomore. Bo Jackson's going to be a sophomore. So you weren't going to go out and get a starting running back if you were going to keep Bo Jackson. But, hey, this seventh-year guy who's actually 24 years old and had some success at Florida last year, we could bring him in and help augment our running back room with Isaiah West and Bo Jackson and Turbo Rogers and those guys.
There's one reason why what we just went over right there at the end is happening that people aren't really talking enough about. I will tell you what that is, and you'll go, oh, now I get that. That makes all the sense in the world. Plus, could the Buckeyes go to the NFL ranks at the coordinator positions one more time? Also take a look at where this roster kind of is as the portal closes today. That's all in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at Tri-State Men's Health, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at Tri-State Men's Health. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. We have 2 convenient locations in the area to serve you in Hilliard and Westerville.
At ADP, we know you want your landscape business to succeed, but we don't know anything about landscaping. ADP only knows how to handle the business of your small business. So if ADP focuses on the payroll and the HR, while you focus on the land and the scaping, success should follow. Just don't expect us to know all about Kentucky bluegrass, zero-turn cutting, or what to do with a woodchuck. That's for you to figure out. Let ADP help your small business focus on the part of the business you're good at. ADP for small business.
BMI Federal Credit Union has been voted Best Credit Union for the past 8 years in a row. With personalized service and excellent products, BMI FCU is ready to help with all your banking needs. Visit BMIFCU.org to open an account today.
Hey everyone, it's Berm here. The weird part isn't that I'm down 27 pounds in 4 weeks. It's how normal this feels. I'm not starving. I feel great. My belt's 3 notches tighter, and I'm enjoying the process. That's Awaken 180. That's Awaken180weightloss.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
All right, here's what's up on a Football Friday edition of the program. So we were talking about how it feels like you're just taking a guy that you liked in the recruiting process, and maybe in some instances, maybe you lost out on a battle in the recruiting processes with somebody else. You think about all these, the kid from Georgia, all the kids from Alabama. My guess is Ohio State was very familiar with all of those guys, but they go to those schools, they've been developed, and now you get them there. Meantime, your guys who you recruited and you developed, now they're at other Power 5 or now Power 4 institutions. And you say, well, why is this happening? Why don't you just keep your guys? Well, there's a million factors to it, but one that probably hasn't been talked about enough is, you remember when I told you guys that the Montana State coach said that walk-ons have agents, or the Montana coach said walk-ons have agents? Well, what do agents work on?
Commission.
Yeah. How do you get a commission?
Get your guy paid.
Yeah, and negotiate a new contract. That's it. So these folks that have agents or people serving as agents and they're looking for their cut, the only way to get new money for them is to get in the portal and get a new deal. And so I think that's a lot of what's happening here is these guys are just kind of musical chairs from one Power 4 to the next to another one, instead of just staying where they are and being the guy there. There are some instances, for example, like James Peoples, like I'm sure he wants to go be a featured back. Like he obviously lost that battle to Bo Jackson. He wanted to go be a featured back, and so he ends up at Penn State. But just look at some of these other guys. I mean, you think about like the depth at receiver with Porter and Graham. Like I would imagine that a big role was planned for both of those guys this year. Certainly one of them had to have a big role planned for them. They were 5-star kids out of high school. They were developed here by the best place to develop wide receivers. Well, now they're at Notre Dame. Now, did they want to go to Notre Dame? No, but Notre Dame is probably offering a little bit more money. If they wanted to go to Notre Dame, they could have gone there out of high school and gone to Notre Dame. So you're basically just changing your circumstance to get a new contract. Agent gets paid his commission, and we repeat this process every year. That's something that isn't talked about quite enough. That agent part of this.
And I think, Bo, they probably had a role for them here at Ohio State, but Ohio State with Jeremiah Smith and whatever financial commitment they had to Chris Henry Jr. to get him to come here, they couldn't be guaranteed starter money or a starting spot here at Ohio State, either of them. And they go to Notre Dame. They're probably getting more money than they were going to get here at Ohio State, and they're probably both starting. Yes. Day one for Marcus.
Yeah, they need him. Sometimes it's both, right? Sometimes it is, like where you get it's playing time and fresh start. But in a lot of these instances, just think of the only way to get paid is to get a new deal. And that's certainly a part of what's happened here over the last 2 weeks.
I mean, there are 30 guys from Ohio State's 2025 roster that put their names in the transfer portal. 18 have found new landing spots. I think each individual scenario is different because you had, with guys like, to Baker's point, that wanted starting money and the opportunity to start. And then there's guys like Lincoln Keenholz who you get to the NFL, you got to play on Saturdays. You want to play on Sundays, you play on Saturdays. The best chance for him to play on Saturdays was to go somewhere else. Other guys, it's like, well, I've got one more year of college eligibility left and I'm not seeing the field here and I want to make something of my college experience. And so it's a wild variety for everybody at every school. And I just think it's so interesting when you look around the country. Everybody kind of feels the same way about this, except for maybe LSU, Indiana, and Miami. And there's a big specific reason why 2 of those 3 feel the way that they do.
Yeah.
They've got a game to play.
They sure do. And LSU feels pretty good. I mean, he got, not only did he get Levitt, he got that Longstreet kid who was a 5-star in last year's class who was going to USC. He's got him as the guy behind the guy. So he redid the quarterback room with the Raising Cane's money in one off season, got that thing sorted out. I think defensively, the 2 guys that I think of as an example of this are Bryce West and Aaron Scott. Those are Ohioans. They paid their dues. I mean, you can't tell me Bryce West, like, as much as Luke has connections with Glenville and all of that, the idea that I can't imagine Bryce West wants to go be a starting quarterback at Wisconsin. Like, really? I mean, the money's nice, but how much more was it? Those are the things that I'm curious about. That's what was so cool about the Levitt or the Ty Simpson stuff when he started naming names. about, well, they're offering this is offering this. Like, I'd be curious to know what the difference was with Bryce West and Aaron Scott.
It'd be interesting to know the conversations with them as well.
Yes,
because
it would.
both of those, you could have seen a role for them to start on this team.
For sure.
Now, if one of them started, the other one probably wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So there was probably a competition between those two to get a starting spot. But I think there was a real possibility that you could have seen Bryce West start as the nickel this
Agreed.
year, or Aaron Scott start on the outside at corner and Jermaine Matthews bumps in to the nickel. So it'd be interesting to know what the conversations were with those two as well as to what their roles would be on this team next year.
Absolutely. And just think about, we laid this out last week in terms of retaining starters. Just think about the conversation with Kenyatta Jackson. That's a big return right there. Now, all of a sudden, he's coming back. That's, well, one less thing to worry about. Jermaine Matthews as well. So you get both of those things coming yesterday. The reality is that until we get to spring and we get some sort of look at these guys and see who can play and who can really not, that's when you're going to know. But it's a new era in college football, and Ohio State's right in the thick of it, and I think in the end you're going to be pretty happy with the way that all this shook out. I don't know if it's better than how it would have shaken out if you just kept your guys, but it's different. It's just a different way of viewing it. Speaking of different, and I do think this is something that you will see consistently for Ohio State going forward, as long as Ryan Day's in charge of it. I think at the coordinator positions, he is going to consistently look into the NFL in terms of come here, do it for a year or two. I think the days of Jim Haycock, 12 years defensive coordinator, I think those days, and they've been gone for a while, but I think you're going to be in a 1 and 2 year window coordinator stuff for a while. I think Ryan likes the idea of hearing from guys in the league. I think he wants to run this as NFLU, which they've been doing from a roster standpoint for a while now, but I think he wants to do that with the coaching staff as well, and I think you can learn from that. I mean, look at the two that he's done it with. You can understand why he'd want to go back to that well. He did it with Chip, and then he did it again with Patricia, and both were home runs. Like, ultra smart people with a ton of experience that have succeeded at the high level, let's give them a shot. And so if you think of, like, all of these guys who are, like, you know, in the NFL coaching search world, if they don't land a gig in the league, do I think they could paratroop in here for a year or two, or even a singular year? Yeah, I do. I think you could see some of that. And I think that's where Ryan Day's probably looking to fill the coordinator position.
Bob had a really good point on Morning Juice. We're talking about Matt Patricia and where Ohio State's totally fine to wait and see what he wants to do, because there's probably conversations that Patricia's having with NFL teams right now, or at least certainly in the last couple of weeks, because he's a valuable commodity. It's really interesting, you know, how not only are the rosters skewing old and more experienced, but the coaching staffs are as well, with teams that are ready to go now. Like teams that are competing for national championship every single year. And I think you'll see that as we continue, are going to skew both of we're not developed here. And that's not going to be much the case anymore, because you've got to win now.
And Bo, I feel like if with Ohio State, it's kind of been that way here for a while with the coordinators. Maybe since Urban took over, where you're constantly flipping coordinators a little bit, losing coaches. Like, I know Larry Johnson's been here for a long time, but defensive coordinator, you know, we've gone through quite a few defensive coordinators. This is what, Ryan's fourth?
Yeah, he's had a few.
So I feel like ever since Urban came here, he's kind of had that model too, where they've been going through coaches quite a bit every year, because when you have success like they have had, people want to take a part of that. They want to be a part of that. So you've had the Tom Hermans go, the Kevin Wilsons go, then Ryan comes in, he gets promoted to head coach. And so you've had that kind of revolving door of coordinators anyway.
You have. I think the biggest difference now, though, is the NFL part of it, component. Like, Urban didn't live in that world. I don't know that he looked to the NFL to fill coordinator positions, and I think Ryan is. I think every time that the one comes open, he's looking in the NFL and go, who can, and I don't think he cares, like, what would they? Do they want Matt Patricia for a second season? Good Lord, of course. He was brilliant. Absolutely. But at the same time, would you rather have him from 1 year or none? Yeah, you would. You'd rather have him for one. And just think of all of the coaching guys that are interviewing for these NFL jobs that are offensive geniuses, even some of them that are out of work. And if they don't land a job as a head coach and they don't maybe love the coordinator's jobs that are out there, do you paratroop in here for a year? And would you take that? Yeah, I would. 1 year for sure. Give me 1 year with someone who's succeeded at the NFL level calling ball plays. Absolutely, I'll do that. Are the Jackets ever going to lose? I guess not.
I'm planning the parade route.
Parade route getting set. And the Los Angeles Dodgers, my goodness gracious. They are Real Madrid, kids. We'll get to all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Incarceration, America's rock, metal, and tattoo festival returns this summer with Limp Bizkit, Disturbed, Bad Omens, plus Gojira, Papa Roach, Day to Remember, Motionless in White, Ice Nine Kills, Cypress Hill, The Used, and so many more. Incarceration at the Ohio State Reformatory, July 17th to 19th. Passes on sale now at incarceration.com.
New year, new you, new truck from Germain Toyota of Columbus, and the deals are built tough. Drive home the all-new 2026 Toyota Tacoma with 2.99% financing for up to 48 months. Need more muscle? The 2026 Toyota Tundra delivers with 2.99% financing for up to 72 months, or take $3,000 in customer cash. Germain Toyota has the truck and the deal you've been waiting for. Shop today at Germain Toyota of Columbus, where selection, value, and trust come standard. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Hey, it's Austin Ward. Listen to The Beat with Austin and Byrne, now powered by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Get the latest Buckeye news, insights, and unbeatable analysis every day. Don't miss a moment. Stream The Beat with Austin and Byrne, sponsored by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Come into your local AAA Tire and Auto Service and save up to $30 on auto repair with their AAA Triple Play. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer valid through January 31st. See store for details.
Hey Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
Join our resident gambling degenerates Steve Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money, Sunday mornings at 9.
Presented by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
All the action, none of the responsibility.
The Fan.
Hey, are you driving high right now? You might be, because a whole lot of people do. They say marijuana makes them a better driver, more careful, more focused. That's probably what the guy who killed a 4-year-old thought. And now, he's in prison. You see, no matter what you tell yourself, if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps Seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps Seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Jacket's pretty dominant. By the way, I wonder if this had to factor into Don Waddell's decision. I'm sure there was a bunch of it to relieve Dean Evison of duties. The timing of this is pretty soft landing. You're going to have their immediate attention because you're coming off a long road trip. You got a home stand here with two teams that are struggling in Calgary and Vancouver, and then you got the winter break. So in terms of shot of adrenaline, it was kind of the perfect time to do it for Don Waddell, and they've responded. This was 2 straight strong performances. Bake, I'm sure you were there.
I was there. I was there as a fan last night and not up in the press box, but it was fun to see. Bo also 7 of 8 at home in this stretch here towards the end of January. So that was nice for them as well to play in the friendly confines of Nationwide Arena. The Vancouver Canucks are the worst team in the NHL, but you acted accordingly last night. You went out and you beat them. And it was kind of a struggle in the first period. And Rick Bowness even talked about it a little bit after the game. He said he didn't like their game in the first period. And if it wasn't for Elvis making a couple big saves, maybe that game was different. And how many times have we heard that if it wasn't for Elvis?
Just going to say that's pretty noteworthy.
Elvis looked pretty good last night. I know he wants the goal that he gave up back, but he was pretty good. Bowness even used the word calm when he was describing him. But it's only 2 games, so you're not doing a lot of tweaks to the system. But it just looks different. That third period last night looked different. You had a 2-goal lead, and you didn't sit back and wait for things to collapse. You kept going, and you even put another goal on the board. I also think last night, if Dean Evison is the coach, and I have nothing bad to say about Dean Evison. Let me say that first and foremost. Last year was so fun with this team, and it was always fun talking with Dean. But last night, I don't think you would have seen as much Kent Johnson in the third period. You probably would have seen a lot more Brendan Gaunce. And I think that's one thing that was definitely an issue. I remember a game earlier this month. It was 2-2, I believe. And there's like 2 minutes left. And instead of having your whatever line Kent Johnson was on, it was him and Monahan and someone. Brendan Gaunce was taking Kent Johnson's shift in those final 2 minutes. And to me, when you do something like that, you are telling your team you're playing for overtime. You are not playing to win. You are playing just to finish this game with a point. And that's an issue, I think, especially with young guys.
And he bagged a goal last night.
It's not lost that he had the kind of nail in that coffin. I mean, I know Vancouver gets the final goal in the second period, and you're not thinking you're not like, oh no, here we go again with this, because it's still 3-1.
Yeah.
But the fact that KJ got that final goal, he had 17 minutes on the ice last night. They're obviously playing with the energy that everybody's ass is on the line. And that's good, because they were in the basement of the NHL. Right now, they're not. It belongs to the New York Rangers. But I'd been saying this, since they fired Dean Evison, is it was so important that they did it that the Don Waddell made the move when he did, because you still have plenty of runway before that Olympic break where you can build some actual momentum here. Now, are they gonna make the playoffs? It's still too early to tell, but they're not dead. They're not dead going into the Olympic break, and there's momentum to play like the way they did last night in front of your home fans. Like, none of that should be lost on anybody of when the move was made and how now you have this opportunity to perform to the people that matter the most for you.
Yeah. And guys, all you got to do is look at the 3 stars from last night to go, well, that's not how it would have been if Dean were here. Elvis, Kent, Marchie. Now, Marchie probably would have anyway. He's always had a chance, but he's had that type of year. But the first 2, no. Wouldn't have been the case.
And I will tell you this, those 3 stars are a mistake, because Charlie Coyle should have been in there, because he was ridiculous last night. We were at the game, and Megan doesn't know much about hockey, and she looked at me in the third period, and she's like, who's number 3? And I was like, well, that's Charlie Coyle. And she was like, well, he's everywhere. He's in the middle of everything. And I had just looked the previous stoppage before that. I was looking at some of the ice time just to see where everyone was.
Yeah.
Charlie Coyle had 8 shots on goal.
Yeah.
I mean, these last 2 games with Rick Bowness, he has been ridiculously good as well. And I think he might have been the best player on the ice last night.
Seemed like it. In the 2 periods I watched, it seemed like it. I watched the first 2 periods, and it certainly seemed that way. All right, we had this happens yesterday as well, and I don't follow baseball the way that I used to. So, you guys, the Los Angeles Dodgers signed former Cubs and Astros outfielder Kyle Tucker. The deal is 4 years, $240. Okay, 4 years, $240, which is the second highest in baseball history. Which is I don't know. Is Kyle Tucker that type of player? Like, that seems a crazy amount of year-to-year money. So answer that question in a second. But what this does is it now takes the Dodgers' payroll to $416 million annually. Annually. They have like 8 contracts that are over $100 million on their roster. This is what like Real Madrid does. This is what they do. Make sense of this for me, Reese. This is your sport.
Well, they had a need in the outfield, and last season he had 25 stolen bases and 22 home runs, and they addressed the need in their outfield. They addressed it the way the Dodgers do.
It's crazy.
You pay, and I don't necessarily think this is an overpay, but when you look at what like Shohei Ohtani's contract is, and there's so much more deferred money for Ohtani, like just kicking the can down the road to the 2030s. This was what the Dodgers are going to do to ensure that they win another championship.
Unreal.
I think the production certainly, and especially when you kind of go 1 through 9 in their lineup, it was a murderer's row last season. It's more of that. Baker was asking, how do you beat this lineup? How do you pitch against this team? I go, I don't know. Pray.
Yeah, right.
You pray you run into them in a slump, or you pray that, I mean, they had pitching issues last year. They had, not issues, but they were just dealing with injuries last season, and it didn't matter.
So last night we're at the game, and the notification comes across my phone that the Dodgers were giving Kyle Tucker $60 million a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy cow. Like, it's just an embarrassment of riches. Kyle Tucker last year, Bo, batted .266, 22 home runs, 73 RBIs. And Reese mentioned 22 stolen bases. That was actually a little bit of a down year for him. His career numbers are, as I'm trying to find it,
But
his
still,
career
how is
number is
that
273.
Okay.
He averages probably about 30 home runs a year and right around maybe a little less than 100 RBIs a year. He's had 2 years where he was over 100, some in the 90s. He was really good for Houston. He struggled a little bit last year with the transition to Chicago. I think probably he picked it up a little bit towards the end of the year, but he's a solid player.
Yeah, solid player and the second highest paid annually.
Seems a little much.
Yeah, when you're the Dodgers and you've got the kind of cash they do, clearly, or you have the kind of financial makeup that they do, and you're you're trying to compete against the Mets and the Cubs and other teams that are shelling out a bunch of money. This is that. I think the Mets were a little bit less. I think they had 220 on the table, but their signing bonus was $75 million. I think the Dodgers gave them a $64 million signing bonus.
The nice thing here, though, for them is this is a 4-year deal. He's 28 years old, so you're going to get the prime years of his career probably, and then 32, you would think maybe it starts to fall off a little bit. You don't have to deal with it then.
They don't. There's no such thing as a salary mistake for them. Just think this, and I think I'm doing the math right on this. On an average annual salary basis, Tucker, Ohtani, and Betts greater than Guardians and Reds combined.
Their payroll
because they're
alone.
like 180 between the two, between the Reds and Guardians. It looks like they're around 180. Reds are right around 100. Guardians are 80. You're at 70 for Ohtani, 60 for Tucker. That had to do it, right?
Which is amazing. I was looking at it earlier. The Dodgers' salary, what they're paying next year, is more than double Ohio baseball.
Hey, the Guardians avoided arbitration with Stephen Kwan for next year, so little wins.
Good Lord.
Reds made a 3-team trade, picked up a lefty reliever.
How about that, right?
They can never have
Things
too many
aren't
of
just
those.
all about the Dodgers, Bo.
How is this all the same sport? How is this the Dodgers? This is not the Dodgers of my youth. They were a little family-run outfit when I was a kid.
I can't wait to hear Matty Ice complain about this when he comes in. Like, man, it must be nice.
Well, it is nice. I
guess it is. Probably a lot of fun. We'll attempt to do the impossible. Our way too early college football top fives coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here in The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
This weekend, the Ohio RV and Boat Show, brought to you in part by Ohio Credit Union, is back and bigger than ever at the Ohio Expo Center. Whether it's your first adventure or you're a seasoned outdoor enthusiast, this show has it all. One ticket gets you into all 3 buildings so you can see the latest in RVs, boats, motorcycles, ATVs, golf carts, and more. From towables to drivers, jet skis to pontoons, and more. It's all here. The Ohio RV and Boat Show at the Ohio Expo Center, January 9th through 18th. Get details and tickets at OhioRVandBoatShow.com.
Would you enjoy watching a football game if the officials were paid a bonus for every flag they threw? Or a basketball game where the refs got paid for every foul they called? Okay, how about hiring a furnace and AC company that pays its technicians by the number of parts they can sell you? Hi, this is Dennis, president of Care Heating and Cooling, and today, this is how many companies operate. They call it performance pay, and it rewards technicians by paying them more for billing you more. Why is this bad? Because it abuses your trust in a technician to be treated fairly and honestly. At Care, we've been family-owned for 31 years and have always paid our technicians by the hour for repairs. We'll show you exactly what needs to be fixed and why, and give you our low upfront cost before we start. And unlike other companies, our technicians will never be rewarded for throwing more flags. Our Central Ohio-based staff is here for you 7 days a week. Care Heating and Cooling. Book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com or call us at 1-800-COOLING. When you need a company you can trust.
Your mornings are jam-packed. So if you're going to add anything, make it your favorite bite from Tim Hortons. Buy any size beverage and add a daily baked donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. It's the best way to add more to your morning. The 1-2-3 menu, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra exclusions and terms apply at timhortons.com/offer-terms.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
What does it mean to give 100%? It means giving everything you've got, every single day. That's why the V Foundation gives 100% of every dollar donated directly to cancer research. So no matter what you give, we give 100% for life-saving research victories, 100% to making new discoveries that lead to innovative treatments, 100% to groundbreaking cancer research that could one day save someone you love. We know cancer research is working. Over the last 30 years, an estimated 4.5 million lives have been saved thanks to game-changing research breakthroughs. But there is more work to do. That's why the V Foundation gives 100% of every dollar donated directly to cancer research. We will always give 100% to accelerate victory over cancer.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate today at v.org.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love.
Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Game 2 for Rick Bowness as the bench boss for the CBJ. Jackets make it 3 straight wins with a 4-1 victory over the Vancouver Canucks last night at Nationwide. Elvis Merzlikins had 30 saves in his first win since early December. Jackets will head to Pittsburgh to battle the Penguins tomorrow night at 7. You can hear that one on the Fan with coverage at 6:30. In college football, Indiana battles Miami on Monday in the national championship game. The transfer portal closes today, meaning players can't enter after Friday, but schools can still sign portal players. Ohio State added Alabama corner Cam Calhoun, Georgia corner Dominic Kelly, and 7th-year Florida running back Jacoby Jackson on Thursday. Kenyatta Jackson Jr. and Jermaine Matthews Jr. announced they will be returning to Ohio State in 2026. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. BMI Federal Credit Union has been voted the best credit union for the past 8 years by CBUS Top Picks. Visit bmifcu.org for more.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Friday edition of the program. Nice little Saturday around town here. 1 o'clock, Buckeye basketball hosting UCLA. That is a 1 o'clock tip at the Shot. Bucks need to take care of some business here. Their first team's out. Bubble-wise, I saw in some of the bracketology, so it seems like we're going to occupy that world where we're last 4 in, last 4 out type situation for the next month, it feels like. It's getting late early for them a little bit. Need to start stacking some wins for Jake and the boys, and they got injuries too, Big.
Especially with that February schedule coming up. It's really tough.
You just got to make it through January. I don't even think you need to worry. I mean, because, yes, they got a weird game against Virginia on St. Valentine's Day in Nashville, but around that, it's all Big Ten ranked teams. But, yeah, I just think you have to make it through this next week because Michigan looms. It starts with UCLA. I can't imagine an idea where Bruce Thornton is as prolific as he's been at Ohio State, continuing to climb up the scoring list and doesn't make it to March.
That's what's in play.
Yep.
As it stands right now.
Did you say you can't imagine that?
I can't.
Or you don't want to?
I don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine it.
Yeah.
I can more than imagine it.
So the rest of the January slate for the Bucks: UCLA at home Saturday, then Minnesota is here on the 20th, then you're at Michigan on the 23rd. That's going to be your what? Is that a Friday night Fox? Yeah, it's a Friday night Fox primetime. Kansas is in that slot. That's a new thing that Fox is doing. They're running primetime basketball at night on Friday night. And then your Penn State is here on the 26th, and then you're at Wisconsin on the 31st. And then it's at Maryland, Michigan at home, USC at home, Virginia at home, Wisconsin at home, at Michigan State, at Iowa, Purdue at home, Penn State, and then Indiana to close it out. So that is the slate ahead for the Buckeyes. And so, yes, some wins are going to be required at some point on that. And the Jackets are at the Pens on Saturday as well. So we were thinking about this. We had Bill Bender on earlier in this week, and he said he went to his editors with his way too early top 25. And I said, well, that's a pretty good idea. We like lists, but also that seems insane. Who would possibly do that right now? And we have no idea what these rosters are going to look like by the time all of the portal is closed, which closes today, except for the Miami, Indiana guys. They'll have a different portal. It'll open for them once they're done playing on Monday night. So I thought what we would do is outline, kind of group think this. Who's candidates to be in the top 5 to start next season? Who are your candidates? So let's start in the Big Ten as candidates where you could talk yourself into them being in the top 5. I think there are 2 that are lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrel, put it in Sharpie, in the top 25 to start next season, and I think that's Oregon and Ohio State.
So when I first did this, I had Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana in mind. I have since reworked it, and I do not have Indiana there, but I think those 3 will be in play.
Is there anyone else you want to consider, Reese?
I'm going to consider and put Indiana in because I think they've done enough with the transfer portal and to address any issues, to address some issues that they're going to have with their roster in 2026. And in Cignetti, I kind of trust.
He's earned that. I mean, it's just, do you like the Hoover kid? Because that's going to be your quarterback.
And it's sure relative to
TCU.
Everybody else in the country, such an unknown.
I did consider Michigan for a second.
I did as well.
With Kyle Whittingham and all he's bringing coaching-wise and player-wise, and it seems like he will definitely bring more stability. I just think there's too many other good teams right now.
I considered them, and I also considered USC with Maeva coming back and kind of the momentum that they had a little bit this year. Josh Hoover's going to be the quarterback at Indiana next year. He's a TCU kid. He was threw for 3,400 yards, 66% completions, 29 touchdowns, 13 picks. Didn't do really anything at all on the ground. So he is in the Mendoza mold. I don't know if he's as good as Mendoza was. Remember, Mendoza last year in the portal was probably Levitt this year. Like, everybody knew Mendoza was the one everybody wanted. And I didn't get that same sense with Hoover. So he's going to have to – but now you got to have all the faith in the world with Cignetti because he's done it 2 years in a row. But to me, I got Ohio State and Oregon I think both those two will be in the top 5. SEC, I'm willing to hear arguments, and I think only one of these are in. I'm willing to hear arguments from Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, and LSU. Those are the 4 I'm willing to hear arguments on just because of – Kiffin got his portal quarterback, and they've been really good in the portal and in recruiting. Obviously, the cupboard not bare at LSU ever. So those are the only 4 that I'm considering in the SEC.
It's the same for me.
So I think 2 of those are locks. I think Texas and LSU are locks in the top 5.
Top 5, I wouldn't have LSU.
To start the year with what they've done in the portal and all of the...
And Levitt.
All of the news and Lane Kiffin, I think they are a lock to be in the top 5. I don't think Alabama. I didn't really consider them. Georgia, I considered a little. I didn't consider A&M either. The one team, Bo, I did consider a little bit from the SEC, and I'm surprised you didn't mention them, was Oklahoma with Mateer coming back.
I think the reason I didn't mention them, in all honesty, is because sometimes I forget they're in the SEC.
And it's top 5.
I still view them like top. I think I still see them as like a Big 12 team, even though they're not. But yes, Oklahoma should have been considered by me. That's a bad job. They would have been. They returned much of their defense. Mateer's coming back. I don't know. They got the roommate
that defense.
They got all those guys coming back.
Roommate.
They got Arch's roommate. For God's sake!
What a world!
What a world we live in. So that they buoyed their and they were a different team before Mateer went out. They were pretty damn good before he went out with the injury, and they never really got back to that level. So yeah, they're probably in the mix too. Big 12, I only got Texas Tech.
Same.
I didn't even consider them really.
Yeah,
I thought about them, but no.
I don't think they'll be there, but they were the only ones that I ever even gave any sort of conversation to. Is there anybody in the SEC? ACC?
No.
Maybe Miami.
Not top 5.
Miami's a reset completely.
Yeah.
Like,
everybody's
we have no idea.
gone from that Canes roster.
Malachi Toney will be back theoretically, but beyond that,
I guarantee I never say Clemson again.
Never.
So it's a good job out of you for learning from your experiences. Miami got so desperate they were going to give Ty Simpson $6.5 million.
Yeah, they don't have a quarterback.
That doesn't scream to me the used, ready to run it back.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any sort of eligibility loopholes for Carson Beck to return for more. So I don't even know who's on their roster at quarterback behind him. And they weren't able to land anybody in the portal, and we know that they were desperate trying to get Ty Simpson to stay back out of it. So I think they're out. I'll tell you, like the beloved Ponies have a lot of talent coming back. They were not in the mix this year. I don't have them in the top 5, but they weren't in the mix this year. But I think they got a chance to be at the top of the ACC. There isn't anybody else in that league, though. Bake, go ahead.
I was just going to say to what we're saying about Miami here, and this is according to 24/7 Sports right now, they have only signed 4 people in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, they've got, other pressing issues. Miami does.
Yeah, they're trying to win a national title. So they'll probably try to deal with that at another date. There's one other team that needs to be considered here, and that's Notre Dame.
Correct.
I have them at 4.
Yeah, I have them in the top 5 as well.
I have them at 4 as well, Reese. And I almost had them higher. But when I looked at it a little more, I have them number 4.
All right, let's start with you, Bake. Who did you end up with top 5?
So I have, and this is just me thinking what voters are going to do. I think Texas is number 1.
Okay.
To start the year. I think with the Dante Moore news, Oregon is number 2. I have LSU number 3, Notre Dame number 4, and Ohio State number 5.
We have the same 5. Go ahead, Reese. How do you think?
So I also did a similar, how are the voters going to look at things? I think they're going to put Indiana number 1. I think they'll put Ohio State at 2, Texas at 3, Notre Dame's 4, Oregon's 5. Then I've got LSU 6, Tech 7.
Okay.
For what it's worth.
So I went Oregon 1. I think all you're going to hear for the next 6 months is how Dante Moore is going to go number 1 overall. I think he's going to be like the Drew Aller, Klubnik, Nussmeier all combined into one. I think you're going to get a little bit more of a reserved feel with Arch going into next season based on the way that this year started. And I think that he's going to – and it's possible that he could be a little bit undervalued, but I think Oregon's going to go number 1 with more returning and what they did in the portal, what they've done in recruiting. I got Texas at 2. I got Ohio State 3, Notre Dame 4, and LSU 5 with, as I said, the other ones. I think Indiana, it's just you're just starting all over again. And there's a ton of – they're going to be in the top 10 for sure. It's just I think there'll be somewhere in there, and you just kind of got to see it. But I think upwards of 5 Big Ten teams, I really think there's a chance 5 Big Ten teams will be in the top 10 in the country. I think Michigan's got a hell of a shot to start in the top 10. Indiana's going to start in the top 10. I think USC is going to be right there knocking on the door of this thing. And we'll have more clarity on this once, of course, the portal closes and you get a little bit of better sense on where these rosters are going to look. One thing that we know for certain is the NFL rosters are going to look a certain way, and what you have is an NFC West party this weekend. We will preview the NFC divisional round coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you. The Meatloaf! The Fan.
At Babs R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement. As the Midwest's fastest growing 5-star bathroom remodeler, we're more than just transformations. We're a community driven by a mission to bring your dreams to life. Our installation team, part of the Babs R Us community, isn't just skilled. They're dedicated to respecting your home. Each day, they bring craftsmanship and hustle, turning your dream space, no matter the size, into reality. Together, we embrace a culture that values diversity, collaboration, and giving back. From supporting local projects to fostering a workplace where every voice is valued. Babs R Us is more than a company. It's a community of experts. We're also expanding locations to create more possibilities for homeowners across the Midwest. Wherever you are, you'll find us ready to turn your dreams into something you can see, feel, and enjoy every day. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement, or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BAB to schedule your free estimate, or go to babsrus.com. Babs R Us, where dreams soak in.
They say glory is earned, not given. We say it's ignited by heart and ends with a boom. Fire the cannon again! Get your tickets today at bluejackets.com.
Around here, it's all-wheel drive all year round, and Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone. Now through February 2nd, get 2.99 APR financing on remaining new 25 Tacomas. Excludes TRD Pro and Trailhunter. Or lease a well-equipped 25 Tacoma SR5 for $279 a month for 36 months with $39.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details, or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you're cold in your home, even with the heat on, your old windows are the problem. Window Nation makes it easy with their buy 4, get 4 windows free sale. Plus, you could get no payments, no interest for 2 years. Hurry, the sale ends soon, so schedule your free estimate now. WindowNation.com.
Matty Ice here with the Columbus Men's Clinic. Guys, you've got one life, and it's too short for not nows, maybe laters, and tomorrows. If you're noticing issues with low T or ED, then your relationships, your confidence, and even your career has already been affected. So, guys, no more excuses. Columbus Men's Clinic has a medical provider focused solely on ED and low T the right way. Since 2014, they've been helping men get safe, effective treatment for over a decade. So call them as at 614-300-7400 right now or book online in under 30 seconds at columbusmensclinic.com. Did you know there's treatments that can help you maintain what you've got? Yeah, that's right, fellas. Just like going to the gym to maintain muscle, there are ways to keep ED and low T at bay without a pill. So it's time to show up for yourself, for your family, and a lot more by going to the Columbus Men's Clinic. Call them at 614-300-7400 or book them online at columbusmensclinic.com. Columbus Men's Clinic, for every man in every season of life.
Common Man and Timmy.
So I doubled up on my Prozac, and I'm feeling very strange.
Wow, that could make for an interesting 3 hours.
Common Man and Timmy, Afternoons on the Fan, is sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Scattered snow showers today, otherwise cloudy skies and breezy with temperatures in the upper 30s. Chances of snow continue overnight with our lows at or below freezing. As we go into Saturday, there will be a chance of snow for the first half of the day. Otherwise, skies turn mostly cloudy with temperatures right around the freezing mark. Winds will still be a bit on the breezy side, and accumulations could be anywhere between 1 to maybe 2 inches. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
It's Friday, and there's football. I shall call it Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for all things football. The Fan. Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are. We're proudly brought to you and sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. NFC first. We'll do the AFC a little bit later in the program. 3 out of the 4 are NFC West. There's a great deal of familiarity between those teams. Of course, the other being the Chicago Bears. It will all start on Saturday night. Niners and Seahawks. Seahawks a 7-point favorite in this one. We picked it yesterday. This is pretty interesting. Sam Darnold left practice yesterday and is questionable with an oblique. Now, he's going to play in the game, but the injury did occur, and in the NFL, you have to make that stuff public in terms of when those injuries occur. And remember, from a calendar standpoint, the practice that you really have to watch for the NFL is always the Friday practice for a Sunday game. If you're a participant in that, you typically look like you're going to play on Sunday. It's rare for it to go another way. So today is actually their Saturday. So today for Seattle is a walkthrough day. That's all it is. It's not a practice. It's a walkthrough day. So the injury designation with Darnold is noteworthy. What I think is also pretty noteworthy is when that designation happened yesterday, the line didn't move, which was surprising to me, that there was no movement in that line whatsoever. And I know you're ready with the Darnold joke, Big.
No, I was going to say it's probably because they don't think there's any way he's not playing.
But he could be. I mean, just the fact that he has an injury and would be limited potentially, even that didn't affect it. Not even a half point. I was a little surprised by. Darnold was asked about the oblique injury. Here's his answer to where he's at with it.
You know, just in routes on air, just kind of felt a little something about oblique. Just didn't want to push it. Wasn't the day to push it, so that was it. So just came inside, got some rehab, and feel like I'll be ready to go for Saturday.
Did they do that interview in the Boeing factory?
Felt like it a little bit.
It's interesting, like with this team, with these two teams, I should say, Niners and Seahawks, they met the first game of the season. Niners won 17-13. Then the Seahawks, I don't know, dominated is the right word, but 13-3. I don't know if you can call that
pretty
dominating.
Dominant.
Defensively, yeah. I think that's the biggest thing about Seattle and just what they've been able to do the entire year without missing a beat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they are a really old-school smash-mouth team. I mean, they play incredible defense. They run the ball downhill at you with two really good backs, and they punch you in the mouth. And Mike McDaniel has brought all of that with him, and he's done a masterful job in Seattle. And they're built to stay. Like, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be in the mix here. And all of these teams are in the NFC West. I mean, not like San Francisco's going anywhere. Rams are going to be good as long as Stafford's there, and he's going to win the MVP, so there's no reason to believe that's going to end anytime soon. These two teams are very familiar. Mike McDonald did weigh in on the fact that this will be the third time they've hooked up this year.
I think the timetable probably drives that answer a little bit. You know, having played these guys the first week, having such a big break between on the bookends of the season, you're really looking at it through the lens of like, how much do you can discount some of the, we've changed a lot since the first week, so probably more of the back-to-back thing that just doesn't happen that often. But don't make it more than it is. I mean, it was the last game. This is another game, and trying to keep our process the same.
Kind of an odd anomaly with all of this is Brock Purdy has never lost in Seattle. He's Mr. Ball in that sense. Never lost in Seattle. Kyle Shanahan weighed in on the significance of that.
I think they're extremely talented at all three levels. I think they have.
I think the big thing is Brock doesn't get rattled. You can be as loud as you want. They're still probably not going to hear you there, especially if you're in the gun. And then we know they'll be that much louder this week. But I think it's nothing really rattles Brock. He stays the same. As you guys got to know Brock in all the situations, I don't think when you guys talk to him, whether he's had a good game, a bad game, I don't think he ever seems much different. He's always Brock, and you feel that on the sidelines throughout a game. I mean, you felt that last week. That's what I thought was so impressive, having that interception with like 8 minutes to go, and we lose the lead, and the way he came back and played the next drive after that is the perfect example of, that's what I mean by, like, you can kind of see people's character, what type of people they are on the silent tape, and a guy who can act like that on that silent tape describes exactly the type of dude he is.
Did Tyvus say today who he's rooting for here?
I would imagine it's Seattle.
I mean, they gave him his chance, but I know he always considers like San Francisco home, his NFL home.
He does lament all the money that California took from him.
I don't think he said, but he definitely talked about playing for both of these organizations. Yeah. And he said, what was it? He said that Sherm followed him to San Francisco.
Well, that's what it was. Right.
That's pretty on brand. Yeah, that does. Who are you rooting for in this? We did the picks yesterday. Who are you rooting for?
Well, just like, because I can't.
If you can separate your picks from the rooting interests, like which is the better story?
I guess Brock Purdy.
See, I think Seattle's the better story because they haven't been there. Darnold, McDonald flipping this thing. They get rid of DK. They get rid of Tyler Lockett. The year JSN has had this year.
Yeah.
So I think I would lean towards Seattle. But if San Francisco loses, my preseason Super Bowl is dead now. And if Kansas City's been dead for a while, I still have San Francisco hanging in there.
It might be a long 2 weeks if you heard about San Francisco playing a home game in the Super Bowl. Like, that might be an annoying thing to hear.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought that would be with Miami, though, in the national championship, and it hasn't been too bad.
Well, that goes to the thing I talked about with Paul earlier this week, where it feels like that game's being played in a closet.
And it's going to be so red.
Yeah,
crimson.
And it's so off the radar in the sports landscape leading up to it. And they'll hit you over the head with it on Monday, but leading up to it, it's been all NFL in the national sports talk conversation. The other NFC playoff game will be the Rams and the Bears. This is your Sunday night affair. It's 6:30, which is, chef's kiss, perfect. Rams favored by 3.5. Ben Johnson, who has grabbed that franchise in that city by the throat on the prospect of taking on probably going to be the MVP in Matthew Stafford.
He's fundamentally sound, and so when you talk about the footwork, I think it starts there with him. But then as you talk about an experienced player that sees the field really well, he understands defenses, he knows how to manipulate defenses. He's got a great feel for the game. They're very much a premier play operation. You know, they get into really good football plays against whatever defense that you're into, and that's a credit to the head coach and play caller, obviously, but also Matthew has a lot to do with that because he's got complete control of everything that's going on. And so it's no wonder that they're scoring so many points that they are right now.
It's probably the only game this weekend where weather is going to be a factor. It's going to be cold in Chicago. The AccuWeather forecast showing 19 degrees at Soldier Field on Sunday night. Obviously, this Los Angeles team resides in Los Angeles, so once again, they're going to have to deal with cold. Didn't have to last week in Carolina. Here's McVay on if the cold will alter the game plan at all.
Not necessarily. I think what you do is if how the actual just cold in general in terms of how the ball feels, but last year was a great example of, we had two really cold games. The Jets game was even colder than the Eagles game. It was too damn cold in New York to even snow that day. But fortunately, Matthews played in these conditions. And so doesn't change. There's a couple things you have to be mindful of, but now you start talking about wind, rain, and how that really affects your footing, stuff like that. But we always kind of adjust and adapt. They got to be able to play in those same sort of elements. They obviously have had a little bit more experience, but we're not going to allow that to be an excuse. And so I think you do have to have a feel, but I think the way that our guys play, I think it suits us well in any sort of conditions, and that's kind of what we've always said.
The NFL rooting interest here is pretty straightforward, I would assume, and pretty direct, and I would think it would be Chicago. I think it'd be the Chicago Bears. If the Chicago Bears can elevate that brand, the size of that fan base is mammoth. If they are a legitimate contender consistently, that's a game changer for the league.
And I think for Chicago to advance to the NFC Championship, it's going to take another heroic performance from Caleb Williams. And I think everybody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see that happen because then it ascends another superstar quarterback.
Yes.
Like we had talked, about how this divisional round has really great quarterback play. And Matt Stafford, he's a huge reason why I don't think the weather's going to be too much of a factor for the Rams because he's just he's played in everything. But he's not the superstar of the league. Like Caleb Williams can elevate to that. One of the all-time biggest franchises. And so I think everybody, without a rooting interest, is interested to see what Williams can do on this kind of a stage.
If Williams and Ben Johnson somehow get this done, and the Bears win a Super Bowl, they get statues, right?
Yes.
When they build this brand new huge monumental stadium in Arlington Heights or Gary, Indiana, wherever it's going, they get statues outside of it.
Yeah, them in Ditka. Like that's what it would be. You do that. Yeah, I mean, Chicago's a Bears town. It's a Bears town. And when they're going, I mean, Fish could talk to you about that. Mike could too. AR, they all grew up in that area. When they're going, that's what it is. And so to me, like if the Chicago Bears in my lifetime have never had a long stretch of relevancy. So if this Bears team in year one with Ben Johnson wins another round and even gets all the way there to the Super Bowl, whether they win it or not, and then what's ahead of them, that's a big boost for the league if that can happen.
I'm kind of rooting against the Bears just because I don't know how much more of shirtless Ben Johnson I can take.
Stafford's a great story too. Like if he could, because he's now putting the icing on what is now a first ballot Hall of Fame Gold Jacket career. He's going to win the MVP. If they can get to another Super Bowl, then that's walk in on the first ballot stuff. He's probably already there with the MVP that's coming his way shortly. Tim May in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Now's the time to buy or renew your 2026 dog licenses. Not only are dog licenses required by law, but fees support the Franklin County Dog Shelter and Adoption Center. Buy or renew your dog licenses today at franklincountyauditor.com.
It's Timmy Hall and AI Common Man. Happy to ring in another year with our friends at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Hey, Mikey, do you want to be a millionaire? Hollywood is the place to do it.
From now until March 25th, you have the chance to win $1 million instantly. And here's something Mikey likey. All new brunch items at the Sportsbook Restaurant and Bar like Biscoff Stuffed French Toast, Country Benedict, or Roast Beef Hash Skillet. Yummy.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Steve here from USA Insulation. Let me ask you a question. Do you know why your thermos keeps your coffee hot? Because it's insulated with foam. So let us do the same thing and insulate your home with our premium foam for only $99 a month, interest-free. The cold weather's here. There's nothing better than sitting in a warm, comfortable home with your loved ones and keeping that cold, drafty air outside. So make the call today, 529-2440, 529-2440, or USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Hey, it's Austin Ward. Listen to The Beat with Austin and Byrne, now powered by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Get the latest Buckeye news, insights, and unbeatable analysis every day. Don't miss a moment. Stream The Beat with Austin and Byrne, sponsored by the Waterworks and Header Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
For the past 100 years, Shriners Children's has become family to over 1.5 million kids.
In tough times and good times, they're there when we need them most.
Please go online right now to loveshriners.org.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time to hop out on that Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline conversation with our good buddy Tim Bay, the Tim Bay Show with Clay Hall and FanStreamSports.com, and he joins us there. You watch more Alabama football than most of us. Are any of these guys any good that we got?
Yeah, I think the edge guy and the defensive tackle are really good. And Kobe Jackson, I guess he gets the C.J. Donaldson Award. You know what I mean? So
he's 27 years old, Tim.
I know. I mean, I never thought I'd live to see the day, Bo, when college football would become a career, but it has. I mean, it literally has for some of these guys. And hey, more power to them, right?
Yeah, for sure. I get it. Like they're never going to be paid more than they're being. That's the biggest change in all of that. I mean, there's a million, but one of them is for a great many of these guys. This is why, like Trinidad Chambliss was fighting like heck and still is. It's why Diego Pavia is appealing upon appealing upon appealing. There is no NFL future for them. There isn't.
Right.
So the most money that they can make is continuing to play college football as long as they can. And so far, these judges are saying no to it, right? So far.
Yes.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, just like when Maurice Clarett tried to leave 2 years early, they said no to that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just curious. Here's the thing. Do any of us really know how much they're actually getting? Because even though there are all kinds of reports, and I'm not knocking the guys that do the reports at all, but highest paid or whatever, I mean, based on what? Where's the list that what guys are getting, et cetera? Like the kid who went from Cincinnati to Texas Tech, the quarterback. I mean, what is he really, truly getting? What will the clearinghouse finally approve, or will they even put it in front of the clearinghouse? There's just all these vagaries going on now that make it very difficult. I think for the average fan just needs to sit back. The good thing about this is at the start of spring ball, you're pretty much going to know what your roster is for the season. That's when the average fan ought to sit back and go, okay, we got this guy, this guy, this guy. Who cares what they're making? Somebody's having to pay for it, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about that. How are they going to play on Saturdays and Thursday nights and Friday and whatever else they play?
Yeah, the biggest thing I think that's going to be adjustment for the casual fan is, forever you fell in love with a recruit, right? Because whether it was Bill Kurlick or Berm or somebody like that was out there saying like, hey, man, this kid is a 16-year-old. I'm telling you, he's the next one. And so you fall in love with that kid, and then that kid gets on campus, and it takes a couple of years for him to be a player who develops into someone who's a contributor. That's over. Like developed here is over. I think about like Bryce West at Wisconsin. I mean, I can't imagine that coming out of Glenville, he was like, man, I can't wait to go play defensive back at Wisconsin. But he jumped in there, a little bit more money, probably agent-driven too, Tim, which isn't talked about enough, that the agents capitalize when you sign a new contract. But that part's the biggest adjustment, I think, for fans.
Yeah. I mean, heck, it's the biggest adjustment for players, really, when you get right down to it. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you get right down to it. And then when you think about a guy who was probably pretty close to a breakout maybe with Ohio State, I'm like a Bryce West or an Aaron Scott. I mean, when you think about them jumping in there, they knew where they stood on the Ohio State roster going into this year. And I think they both had shots of playing more. Let's put it that way. It looks like Devin Sanchez and Jermaine Matthews will be your starters at cornerback, I mean, just based on how things went last year. But the bottom line is, these guys eventually are going to play, but when somebody can pay you a little more probably than what you're getting in the pecking order at Ohio State, because they do have a salary cap of whatever it is, 18 million, 17.5, whatever the salary cap is out of that 20.5 million. Ohio State, the football does have a salary cap, so they do have to, Mark Pantoni, Ryan Day, whomever, have to portion it, and you can get a little bit more, you go get a little bit more, but it just makes you wonder, like Kirby Smart, of all people, quoting him on philosophy, but, stick around and see how you measure up, where it's really true competition. I mean, that's unfortunate to see it going that way.
Yeah,
let me tell you, these guys are all making some kind of decent money now, as opposed to when you were at Montana State watching your stars come and go.
Well, they had the Montana coach said, I got walk-ons with agents at Montana, University of Montana.
Exactly. Oh, exactly, buddy. Everybody's got it. If you don't have an agent right now, I mean, as in, now I'm going to put it in the best case scenario. Somebody looking out for your best interest instead of theirs, instead of their percentage. And I think a lot of that's going on too. Is, hey, I'm going to shop this guy around. I'm going to sell him on School C, where he's going to get more money because he's going to be a much better player than they have on their roster now, as opposed to where he is. So he's going to make more money. I mean, those are the unscrupulous guys that you kind of, you knew were going to come out of the woodwork, and I'm sure there are many of them running around out there. Turn on the light and see who runs, right?
Why do you think? I was surprised that the number one thing that came out earlier this week from the American Football Coaches Association, the AFCA, was they wanted the redshirt rule from from 4 to 9, and preferred a 5 years to play 5, so 5 years of just straight eligibility. Essentially, I could not be more opposed to that. I have no interest in the norm being 5 years of college eligibility. Where do you stand on it?
Well, back in the day, back in the day, several years ago, that kind of was it, in terms of where you could max out until really COVID came along, and so the 5 years to play 5, dude, we're talking about a guy going into his 7th year.
I know.
Playing football. So 5 years to play 5 is sort of like, I think a lot of people push for that even back in the day, because 5 years to play almost 5 is really what it is, right? I mean, they don't want you just sitting on the bench doing nothing in terms of games. And the JV football, when I was growing up, my dad took me and my brother Ben, we went to some Alabama junior varsity games. I mean, they actually, because obviously freshmen weren't eligible and things like that. So, I mean, anything that helps a player develop, anything that helps a team develop, I'm for. So I kind of like that idea.
You like them getting essentially 5 years of college football? 5 years of eligibility,
because they can still leave after 3 if they're good enough for the NFL. Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, if they ever get around to actually contracts and cutting people, that's the next step. As I've told you, as you and I were texting the other night, it's like
that's the only thing that solves it.
I don't understand. They keep coming up with all these really weird ways of handling things, when in fact contracts is the word.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. Think of college. I always say this, think of college. You've seen Step Brothers, right?
Oh yeah.
When he paints the huge wound on his head, just the gaping wound on his head, and he's walking around. The NCAA, think of that as college football, and the NCAA and not just the NCAA, the presidents, athletic directors, all of it. Their solution, if that flesh wound were real, is like a butterfly Band-Aid. Yeah, like that's what they're trying to do instead of fixing it. That's what they're trying.
Maybe super glue, maybe not even super glue.
Not even super glue. Super glue would work. They're not interested in that.
Absolutely. Just don't move too fast for the first 10 minutes, right?
What's your? Go ahead. No, you go.
You go ahead. No, Matt Stafford, real quick, by the way, he's got to get the John Elway Award, I think, right? The guy that plied his trade forever and then finally got on a team that helped him win a couple of Super Bowls. I heard y'all talking about that before I came on. I'm just going, he's quite the phenomenon, but not really, because the guy can always throw it, baby.
he was a guy, the thing that makes me so happy about him was, like when you talk to Bob or guys who played with him, he is, and once I started doing a lot of stuff in the league, Matthew Stafford is one of the, was before he even got to LA, one of the most respected players in the league. Like guys who played loved him. When you had that conversation of best quarterbacks, he would always end up in the conversation when you talk to people who played in the league. That's how much respect they had for what he did in Detroit. So it's awesome to see it coming to fruition in Los Angeles, where he's won a Super Bowl. Now he's going to win an MVP. He's going to get a first-team All-Pro. So if he would have played his whole career in Detroit, he's probably not a Hall of Famer. Because of this, now he's a walk-in on the first ballot Hall of Famer. That's what makes it cool. And he's honestly one of my favorite guys I've ever seen throw it.
Yeah, he's kind of like when I grew up. He's kind of like, reminds me of the quarterbacks from the pocket days that were just tough. He's really tough, and that's what I've always respected about him more than anything else. But, man, he can throw the football. I mean, it's crazy.
What's your read? I'll get you out of here on this. What's your read on Monday night?
I still think Indiana's the better team, but they can't get into a phone booth fight with Miami. And by phone booth, I mean, one of those – people don't even know what a phone booth is anymore. But one of those – they can't get into your – you remember how you and your brothers used to clear out the furniture so you could have a football game in your bedroom or something? Yeah. They can't get into one of those kind of fights with these guys. They got to hit these guys a little bit on the edges. I like Fernando Mendoza's ability to move around and stay away from pressure. And it also stands out to me about him making a play. But both of these teams, with Indiana, they've been making plays in the second quarter that decide games. Yep. Boy, you can't argue with the fact Miami, when push comes to shove in the fourth quarter, the previous three games hasn't found a drive that puts it away. And I just think it's going to be a hell of a football game, actually.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going to be very good. All right, buddy. Good talking to you as always.
Right. Always a pleasure. You know that, Bo.
There he goes, the great Tim May, joining us on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We'll do Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer, or Wegmans.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. You've got UCLA coming in this weekend. Just early on, what can you tell us about what you see from the Bruins, Jake?
Yeah, tough defensively. Got some really gifted scorers, multiple guys who can score in double digits. You look at what they're doing. They got 5 guys averaging double figures. So really good team. And they were ranked where they were in the preseason for a reason. So it's going to be a real tough challenge for us, but we're excited about the opportunity to, play, better at home. And I think that's a big thing for us is we got to play with the right mentality for 40 minutes.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer both on and off the court. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. Basketball is full of challenging shots, and life can be too. With Encova, you don't have to do it alone. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Jake, as your team gets ready to host UCLA, just to light the wick and something that we talked about a lot last year, how thrilled are you to have more home conference weekend games?
Yeah, it was important, for us to establish that, and we went through the proper channels after our schedule came out last year because, really just it wasn't fair or right for us to have, 2 home weekend conference games. And so we got that doubled this year. That was a step in the right direction. But, you see some teams having 5, 6, 7. We certainly would love to be some of those teams with, the more weekend home games, the better.
Okay, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Do you want free internet forever? Yeah, we thought so. That's why Spectrum is giving you just that. Free fiber-powered internet forever when you switch and get 4 mobile lines from Spectrum. No internet bills, no taxes, no late fees. Just fast fiber-powered internet. Call 833-901-0178 to find out how. But hurry, this deal won't last forever. Once more, 833-901-0178. Or visit spectrum.com/freeforever to learn more.
Take action and get expert service from Logan Services. Heating service calls are just $79. Furnace tune-ups are also $79. And plumbing service calls are just $79. We work in your neighborhood, and scheduling online is quick and easy. So visit our website to book your appointment now. For fast, friendly service, choose Logan Services.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Friday edition. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
I don't have a current update, but after the first round of the European Tour's Dubai Championship on Thursday, Rory McIlroy led the field by 1 shot.
Okay.
In an interview earlier this week with the Telegraph of London, McIlroy was asked about the future of LIV Golf after losing Brooks Koepka. From McIlroy, quote, "It's not as if they made any huge signings this year, is it? They haven't signed anyone who moves the needle, and I don't think they will. I mean, they could re-sign Bryson for hundreds of millions of dollars, but even if they do, it doesn't change their product, does it? They'll just be paying for the exact same thing." End quote. Then McIlroy was asked about Koepka rejoining the PGA Tour. Quote, "This is great. This is as great as it gets for Brooks to be back where he belongs. He's one of the best players in the world, and anything that makes the traditional tour stronger is a good thing in my book." End quote. Thing or not a thing?
Well, look, he gets to win here. I guess some of them win too because they were richly compensated to apply their trades in another tour, but the thinking was that if you didn't go to LIV, that LIV would squash the PGA Tour, and that didn't happen. The PGA Tour didn't get squashed. The PGA Tour thrived, and is in a better spot now than it was pre-LIV, and I think that part shouldn't be ignored, that LIV forced the PGA Tour to do some modernization that was probably long overdue and probably what led to some of these guys seeking, warmer waters elsewhere. But yeah, Rory kind of wins here. He was right in that sense, in that the LIV has not taken anything from the PGA Tour at all, and it still remains the best tour. And now with Brooks coming back, he gets a little bit of a benefit there too. So I guess the winners write the history, and in this entrance, he's one of the winners.
I don't think this is a thing because LIV never really became a thing, at least here in the States. Again, we don't know what it does over in Europe or anything. I guess we could look that up and find all those things out. But they just never really got a good TV traction here in the States, and it just never, ever went over. So I don't think this is a thing. And you're right, Bo. Rory McIlroy wins in this, and he wins big time because the formation of LIV caused the PGA Tour to change some things they were doing and make it more beneficial for the players that were playing here. Some of the things that I know Phil Mickelson was very vocal about before all of this even happened. Things that he wanted done that the PGA Tour did not do until they were forced to. by the formation of Live Golf. So Rory definitely wins in this because he stayed firm to the PGA Tour and he got some things that some of the players wanted. But I do not think that this is a thing at all.
The NBA trade deadline is February 5th. The Memphis Grizzlies are reportedly asking for a first-round draft pick as well as a younger player in exchange for 26-year-old star Ja Morant. CBS Sports says there's been tangible dialogue between both the Miami Heat and the Toronto Raptors. Morant recently purchased a home in South Florida, fueling rumors to his preferred destination, or just because South Florida is really nice and everybody wants to live there.
I was going to say, you don't buy second homes in Toronto.
But thanks to various injuries and suspensions, Morant's only appeared in just 77 games over the last 3 seasons. He's averaging 19 points per game this season, even when he's healthy. It's the lowest total since his rookie year. Morant's on the 3rd year of a 5-year, $197 million extension with the Memphis Grizzlies. Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing, because I don't think he's a player anymore that moves the needle in terms of wins and losses. You guys remember this draft? This was him and Zion. This felt like Zion going to New Orleans and him going to Memphis were going to be franchise elevators, the likes of which those two operations had never seen before. Due to injuries with Zion and off-court stuff with Morant and some injuries, they just never became what the promise that they were going to become. And it's crazy that it is. They were also two of the biggest bets. Nike landed both of these guys. Like Ja Morant has his own shoe. It's a popular shoe, like with the kids. But they missed out on some other ones that probably would have been more lucrative had they gone down that road. So there's a lot of layers to this. The other thing with Morant, he really hasn't gotten better. His game never really evolved. He was always at his best, he was kind of like Dwayne Wade at his best with Miami, except he couldn't shoot it as well as Dwayne Wade, but he attacked the rim relentlessly, and he just never added another facet to his game once that part wasn't as explosive as it was early in his career.
So I don't think this is much of a thing. The thing in here to me, Bo, is Ja Morant's only 26.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been around forever. When I saw he was 20...
Yes.
I mean, that's crazy. And also, you mentioned them signing with Nike. And wasn't it right after Zion Williamson signed with them, he had the blowout with the shoe?
That was before.
So it was before?
Yeah, because Duke's a Nike school, so that happened at Duke. And then I think he's a Jordan brand, Zion's Jordan brand, which is all under Nike's umbrella, obviously. And then Morant, though, has had a signature shoe for a while.
You just talking about both of them signing reminded me of that when he just blew his shoe out in the middle of the court. But I don't keep up on the NBA nearly like I used to. But Ja Morant kind of has a Derrick Rose feel to me when I think of both of their careers, and they were uber talented and probably better players than they end up being in the grand scheme of things for whatever reason, whether that's off the court stuff or just, I don't know if they got complacent or what it is. But
Rose was injuries.
Yeah,
Derrick Rose was injuries. Like if Derrick Rose doesn't have the injury, I mean, he wins the MVP young.
Yeah.
And he just got hurt, like in his knee, and he just was not the same.
I guess I just kind of always, whenever I think of Ja Morant, I think Derrick Rose, and I kind of feel like what could have been with both of them. And he's only 26. He's still got time.
We've talked on this program, Ohio State men's basketball has UCLA at the Schottenstein Center tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage on the Fan at noon. Brandon Beam will be here to gently warm you up. Jake Diebler, talking with reporters yesterday, say they hope to have Christoph Tilly back for that game against the Bruins. Tilly suffered a head injury late in their game against Washington. It's been about 5 days since that loss in Seattle to the upcoming game for the Buckeyes tomorrow against the Bruins. Thing or not a thing?
Well, it's a big thing because they don't have any depth anyway. So, and he's got length, and he was one of the marquees of their portal class and all of that. So that would be a big thing, and they desperately need him, and they desperately need wins. I mean, they need to win a couple of games here, go on a little bit of a winning streak here to get themselves back in good standing before we get into that February, which is just an absolute gauntlet. So that's a big thing.
Yeah, it is a thing because the depth, they maybe have 4 guys that they can rely on. And I don't know if you consider him one, but he is one of those 4. So it's pretty tough for them. It's crazy that this is a head injury because it sure looked like it was ribs when it happened, because that screen was right under his arm, and he grabbed his side right after it happened. So it's kind of weird that this is a head injury with him, because I would have thought for sure it was maybe a cracked rib or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Final hour of the week. Doug Lesmerises coming up at 11:30. What we learned this week coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Have a good day. Stay warm. So my teenage son just went to school in shorts and a hoodie. It's 3 degrees. At least I know he'll be warm in our house, thanks to Atlas Butler. If something goes wrong, they'll fix it within 24 hours. They call it their comfort pledge. Ah, you do want the coat.
My phone.
Oh, your phone. Should have known.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
There's no place in hockey where you'll find more passion, more pride, and more boom. Make some memories with the Columbus Dispatch Family Value Pack, presented by ABC6 and Fox 28 at BlueJackets.com/family.
Got this. Breathe. You got this. You got this.
In the moments that truly matter, what do? Rise to the occasion. Ohio Health. It's time.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT and cybersecurity? Attend classes live, online, or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together,
established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
I always tell people I was the luckiest guy in the world. I wanted to be an Army man or a fireman, and I got to do both. As a firefighter, my job was about saving lives. I never thought one day I would be fighting for mine.
After spending his career answering the call to save others, Ken was diagnosed with ALS. Now he's facing his biggest battle, for more time. For 70 years, Muscular Dystrophy Association has been answering the call to help people live longer and more independent lives.
MDA means to me hope.
MDA is leading the way for people living with ALS, muscular dystrophy, and other neuromuscular diseases by accelerating research, advancing care, and advocating to empower families like Ken's.
I wouldn't be living as good of a life with ALS if it wasn't for MDA. MDA is helping people live stronger and love longer. Learn more at MDA.org today.
Enough already.
We can do more.
Enough already. We can find a cure.
Enough already.
We can do better for our kids.
Enough already. We are relying on you.
We can come together to support Children's Cancer Research Fund, a national nonprofit dedicated to ending childhood cancer that is on the front line of breakthroughs. Because
it's enough already.
Go to childrenscancer.org today.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. After a 2-game road trip and 5 days off, the basketball Buckeyes are back at the Shot on Saturday, hosting UCLA at 1 o'clock. Jake Diebler is hopeful Christoph Tilley will be available for his team tomorrow. The 7-foot Tilley suffered a head injury last Sunday in Ohio State's loss at Washington. You can hear the Buckeyes and the Bruins on the Fan with coverage tomorrow at noon. Ohio State's going to host Minnesota this coming Tuesday. As for the 14th ranked Ohio State women's squad, Buckeyes are headed to New Jersey to play number 10 Texas Christian this coming Monday at noon at the Prudential Center in Newark. You can hear that game on the Fan too. That's 1460 on the AM dial. The NFL's divisional round begins tomorrow at 4:30 with the Broncos hosting the Bills. At 8 o'clock Saturday, the 49ers are at the Seahawks. Seattle's Sam Darnold is expected to play despite dealing with an oblique injury. And last night, the Blue Jackets beat the Canucks 4-1 at Nationwide. They'll take their 3-game win streak to Pittsburgh to battle the Penguins tomorrow night at 7. You can hear Blue Jackets hockey right here on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour of the week. Doug Lesmerises coming up in 30 minutes from now. Get you set for the AFC divisional round coming up in about 17 minutes. Between then and now, time to see what we learned this week, fellas.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
Well, we had a lot. There's a lot going on, man. New coach with the Blue Jackets. You got musical chairs in college football. Turns out the Buckeyes maybe knew what they were doing a little bit when it comes to the portal. And then you had, for the first time in 20 years, the Ravens' job and the Steelers' job both open. And all of that stuff happened this week. And John Harbaugh went from unemployed to employed. Mike Tomlin went from out of his own choosing in Pittsburgh. All of those things kind of dominated the week. I think probably the thing we talked about most was probably Ohio State's approach to the portal and roster building, and that's something that they were all kind of learning on real time. But as we sit here today with the portal closing today, of course, all of that means is you have until through today to get into the portal. You can sign people down the road once they're in it. The question I always have about that is anybody going to school in any of this? Like, that's always, like, if you're in the portal and you're not somewhere by January 16th, how the heck are you going to be eligible to be there for spring? So maybe you won't. Maybe you just sit that out. I don't know. But I think probably that's the biggest thing is that for me, this week, the Blue Bloods, the Ohio States, the Texases, those type of schools that have money to burn, that understand how you build a roster in this point, that have the buy-in from an alumni base and a donor base, those schools got to work this week in a very, very big way, and I think they needed to, and I think the Big Ten is only going to be more difficult because of something else we learned this week, which is that Dante Moore's coming back at Oregon and may have them be the number one team in the country to start next season.
Does that mean Dylan Raiola is going to be at Miami?
I was thinking the same thing with him. Like, he has through today to get in.
Get back in?
I just don't see any scenario. And they even had Dante Moore. I saw a clip from him yesterday where he was talking about, I'm going to be the same mentor to him that, Dylan was to me. Dylan Gabriel was to me.
Where I thought you meant Dylan's going to mentor Dante.
No. Well, he might think he is.
He might think that.
No. He was saying, like, the way Dylan Gabriel treated me, I'm going to treat Dylan Raiola. But it's hard for me to imagine that family who has shown no patience in anything would have any patience to sit for a year at Oregon, no matter how much he's being paid.
Oregon's got a quarterback, Bryson Beaver, that's in the transfer portal. So that could be a spot for Miami. Who, again, they don't have a succession plan for Carson Beck. And the Canes are playing the Hoosiers Monday night in a national championship game that Indiana is now an 8.5-point favorite in.
Did it go up?
It did.
Jeez.
And Miami struck out this week on Ty Simpson, who kind of publicly outed them as offering $6.5 million after LSU and Ole Miss were like, hey, we'd sure like you to come onto our campus. Ty Simpson's now going to the NFL draft because he's kind of one of those, I don't know if like the last remaining Cowboy, but from what playing and being a captain of Alabama means to him, it's kind of like a nice little glimmer of hope in that maybe we can still get some sanity in college football. Maybe. Like the tradition, the excellence, the people, like all of that still mattered to Ty Simpson at least.
Yeah, and I think also like just the fact that he was probably compensated very well last year, and he's going to be the second quarterback off the board. I mean, he could end up being, he may end up being a first-round pick.
Probably.
Bo, I think, and you touched on this a little bit, I think we also learned this week that the major powers in college football, unless you had a coaching change, they're kind of waiting on this portal.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure it all out. They want to get their guys to stay, but they're trying to figure out exactly what the moves are and who they want to get and who they want to spend the money on, because they don't want to mess up, because this is a lot of money. And if you swing and miss on someone, it could hurt you dramatically. And it just seems like they are trying to sit back and learn as much as possible. And then, because we saw it this week with Ohio State, Monday, Tuesday, boom, 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 boom. You start getting all these guys. Georgia starts signing a bunch of guys. Texas starts signing guys. So they're all trying to figure out exactly how they want to construct their roster before they're going to go. Now, if you had a coaching change and you're Lane Kiffin and you wanted to bring a bunch of people from Ole Miss with you, yeah, they're doing that. If you're Penn State and Matt Campbell and you got a bunch of guys at Iowa State that you already know and have a relationship, you're bringing them with you. But for the most part, these bigger brands, they were waiting to get it right.
Yeah, they were. And I can't sit up here and tell you that for sure that they did. We won't know that until we see spring ball. We're not going to know that until next fall. So that's kind of the way that shakes out. It's a bunch of guys in some instances who you weren't involved in recruiting, who you like how they played somewhere else. I think what Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, what they're trying to do is kind of a hybrid of what it's not Indiana, where it's all portal and don't worry about recruiting. It feels like they're trying to still recruit at an elite level with the elite players, and then also maybe not be the first one in on everybody, unless you have a coaching change like LSU, and then you're trying to kind of do both. But it seems like that the powers that be are trying to work on this hybrid model of how to build a roster together, and I'm fascinated to see how it all shakes out. It's pretty wild. Talked to folks from Baltimore this week, and we talked to folks from Pittsburgh this week. The idea that these two jobs are open. These are two jobs. I mean, you think about that. If you've covered the Steelers, even if you've covered the Steelers for 40 years, if there's somebody over there who has, you've only covered 2 coaching searches. Like, do you even remember it? Do you remember it? What a coaching search is? I was talking to Brooke Pryor yesterday, who we've had on before, and she's at ESPN over in Pittsburgh, and I was talking to her about it. And one of the things that you realize is if you are up on an NFL beat covering an NFL team and you have a coaching change, you do not have an off season, because you're tracking down the coaching change from January, from as soon as until there's a hire, you're covering that. Then you go into the combine at the end of February. Then you got free agency in March, and then because the NFL allows for a full extra month of voluntary off-season program, they offer a full extra month for anybody with a coaching change. So for the Cleveland Browns this year, their off-season program will begin in April, and it'll go till the middle of June. If you don't make a coaching change, your off-season program can't start until May. It's usually the week after the draft. So that difference is massive on that side of things, and I'm fascinated to see where Baltimore and Pittsburgh goes from it. The more I think about those, like, Hafley seems perfect for Pittsburgh. He just seems like right out of central casting for them. I think Robert Saleh has a little bit of that too for them. Baltimore is going to be a little. It feels like Pittsburgh's going defense. That's what they always do. And Art Rooney kind of talked about a little bit that when he's available earlier this week. I'm very curious to see what Baltimore does, because Baltimore's the best job. They're ready-made. Like, go win the Super Bowl. Who is the guy that gets that job? My hunch is it will be with offensive acumen in the background, would be my guess.
If I'm looking here, it doesn't seem that the Baltimore Ravens have a first-round pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers do, and at 21, they're being mocked Ty Simpson, the quarterback that we just talked about from Alabama. Like,
there's your reset.
That's something that's kind of plagued this organization since Ben Roethlisberger retired, is they just never been able to hit on the quarterback, and they thought Rodgers would be that. And at times,
he kind of was, though, right, Reese?
Yeah.
I mean, they won the division. Like, if you think about when you signed Aaron Rodgers to this roster with really only DK Metcalf as a receiving threat, and not really anybody. I mean, you probably thought, best case scenario, we win the division. Was anybody delusional to think that there was more to become from that?
Not from where I was sitting. It seemed that when you sign DK Metcalf, you're in. You're going now, and then they pick up Aaron Rodgers, and I didn't expect them to really make a Super Bowl push, but it does feel like the fan base did. I mean, the standard is right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they maxed out who they were this year with Rodgers. I mean, they won the division. They weren't even like a wild card. Like, they actually won the division. You got a home playoff game. Didn't work out, but you still had one. Bake, you've been to both games in the Rick Bowness era. What is the biggest, most obvious difference to you? And did they get this right? Obviously, the early returns at 2-0 would suggest yes.
I think the obvious difference here in these first two games is the pace of play. They are attacking more. They are moving forward more. And he said it in his opening press conference. He wants them playing on their toes, not their heels.
Yep.
And you seem to get that. You seem to get I don't know if more wide open style of hockey is the right thing, because he still wants them to check and defend and limit those prime scoring opportunities. But it is definitely a more forward, faster style of hockey. And, Bo, as you and I have talked about before, that seems to be what fits this team. Mm-hmm. When you play that way, you're going to get more chances both ways. There's going to be mistakes, and you might give up more goals. But we've always said this team seems to be suited better for 6-4 hockey games rather than 2-1.
Yeah, I think the timing of it. The timing of it makes a lot of sense when you think about this little home stretch, these two home games, going to Pittsburgh tomorrow. You got the Olympic break upcoming. Immediately you see the change in minutes. You see the change in kind of approach, all of those things. He was like this. For Don Waddell, Bowness is a shot of adrenaline to the whole organization that needed it. I mean, this is Uma Thurman, Pulp Fiction type stuff, like needed it. Got it, popped up. Okay, now let's see if everything's going to be okay. We got a couple of weeks to kind of get your sea legs to you, take the break, and then decide if you're a team that can make a run or not. But most importantly, the young guys needed to get on the ice and play. They needed to play in situations. Even if you take lumps, you have to know what those guys are and if they are true building blocks that you can build a contender around.
And I think this is the difference, Bo, and I'm not going to knock Jarmo Kekalainen at all, or even Scott Howson, but I think this is just the difference between an experienced general manager and one who was not experienced. Those guys did not have GM experience before they came here to the Columbus Blue Jackets, so you may not have seen this move in the past, but Don Waddell wasn't going to wait. He has a roster that he thinks is better than the way they were performing. He thought a move needed to be made. He didn't wait long, and he made it.
Yeah. Yep, he did. The AFC playoff picture, there is no Patrick Mahomes. There is no Lamar Jackson. There is a Josh Allen. Can he lift a Bills team that I think, if you were honest, would say is the weakest of the four, but they got the best player of the four? We'll get into all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here at Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And, well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
No one plans to get into an accident, but when it happens, we strive in making life easier for you. This is Justin Hinderer. The Hinderer Motor Company Collision Center is ICAR certified and certified by many manufacturers to provide the best quality repair available. All of our repairs come with a lifetime warranty. We have our own 24/7 towing service, so you never have to wait. Plus, we offer on-site rental cars for every lifestyle. At Hinderer Motor Company, we love what moves you.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Winters can be brutal here in the Columbus area, and if you're cold in your home with the heat running constantly, it's probably your old, inefficient windows that are the problem. The good news is that Window Nation can help you get through this season, because in the last 20 years, they've installed over 3 million energy-efficient windows nationally, and they're trusted by thousands of Columbus homeowners to keep their homes comfy and cozy year-round, while also saving them money on monthly utility bills. And right now, they're more affordable during the Window Nation Buy 4, Get 4 Windows free sale. It's a great time to replace all the windows in your home. Plus, you could get your windows with 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. You'll be surprised by the dramatic difference new windows will make. Your home will be better protected against the weather, feel warm and dry, and you'll love the lower utility bills. The pros at Window Nation will guide you every step of the way. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Save big with Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 sale going on now. The sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com right now. Window Nation, a proud partner of Ohio State Athletics.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm an innovation ambassador
at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, and every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook, read labels, keep it allergy friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
It's a playoff Saturday doubleheader on the Fan 2. The Bills and Broncos get things started at 4 with the 49ers and Seahawks in the nightcap.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Catch the action on the Fans HD2 and 1460 AM.
Day 1, the hardest day. The day you hear,
"This is a type of blood cancer."
At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day 1. To learn more and get help on any day, visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing.
Educators have powerful voices, and in 2026, educators are using their voices to speak up and demand the funding, resources, and support our students need to learn, grow, and thrive. We are standing united for our students because we are stronger together.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Scattered snow showers today, otherwise cloudy skies and breezy with temperatures in the upper 30s. Chances of snow continue overnight with our lows at or below freezing. As we go into Saturday, there will be a chance of snow for the first half of the day. Otherwise, skies turn mostly cloudy with temperatures right around the freezing mark. Winds will still be a bit on the breezy side, and accumulations could be anywhere between 1 to maybe 2 inches. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Have you already started your tailgate? Us too. It's Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
This, we did that at the top of the 10 o'clock hour, like our way too early top 5 of the teams that we considered. I saw this on social. Woody versus World put up the NCAA college football odds for next year. And so guess who the number one, as it stands right now, number 1 betting choice is, of course, Ohio State. Number 2 is Indiana. Number 3 is Texas. Number 4 is Oregon. Number 5 is Georgia. So they like Georgia more than LSU. We were all kind of in an LSU world. And then Notre Dame was number 6. LSU, Bama, Texas Tech, and Texas A&M to follow. The Bama thing is silly. There's no path there for them. But the rest of them, it kind of, we were on the right path, fellas, with how this is how this could shake out. By the way, Ohio State on the schedule plays 3 of them. Indiana, Oregon. Don't we play Oregon next year?
Yes.
Bo, give those odds to me one more time.
Ohio State plus 600, Indiana plus 700, Texas plus 750, Oregon plus 800, Georgia plus 800, Notre Dame plus 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Then LSU 1,200, Bama 1,400, Texas Tech 1,500, A&M 1,600.
All teams we brought up.
Yeah, we talked about all of them. And yeah, I mean, I think there is going to be a little bit of. That's how this thing is going to start next season. But I can't wait till this portal thing is locked in and we can actually look at rosters and see like how this all shook out when all is said and done. The AFC playoff picture, it's strange not seeing Mahomes here. Just is.
So
it's
weird.
They've dominated this. I saw Jim Nantz said something this week. He was asked about this. He did a podcast or something and said this is the first time that they haven't done Mahomes because that's all he does is Mahomes games at CBS. He's done the Mahomes games for 6 years.
2018?
Yeah. Every year they do them. They're just locked in. Wherever CBS is, it's wherever Patrick Mahomes is. And so no Kansas City, no Mahomes. Josh Allen is the only one still standing of those that have been knocking on that door trying to knock down Mahomes. Of course, the other two being Lamar, and then Burrow actually did it. Before that, Tom Brady did it when he was in New England. And that's kind of where it stands. So here's Josh Allen on what I think is the weakest team that he's had with the Buffalo Bills, but he is without question, the most established, best quarterback by a million miles left in the AFC. Maybe Drake May will get there. Maybe CJ will get back on track and he'll get there too. But this is really all about Josh Allen. If you want to play the game of who is the NFL rooting for, it's Buffalo as big as possible. That's the whole operation, is the Buffalo side of this thing. And certainly they're aware of that. And Josh Allen is aware of that. Here is Allen on the challenge the Denver defense presents his Buffalo offense.
They've got some absolute studs over there. Obviously, they rush the passer extremely well. Interior, they're, again, some big, stout guys that can really push the pocket. They can stop the run in the back end, too. A guy like Pat Surtain, who was Defensive Player of the Year last year, he's an absolutely fantastic football player. So, yeah, we're going to have our hands full of just making sure that we're putting in the right stuff, understanding the game plan, getting to the right checks, getting to the right calls, executing and playing for each other, because, again, we can't give them any help. That's a good team over there, and anytime you're facing a really good defense, again, you got to go out there and execute and do your part.
The man inevitably in charge of trying to stop Allen is Sean Payton, and he has been a culture tornado in Denver, flipped it very, very quickly, despite the job he originally signed up for was to coach Russell Wilson. They pivoted quickly. They landed Bo Nix. Their defense is absolutely elite. They should be the team to beat here. They are favored only by 1.5, and I think that's only because of Allen. From a who the two teams are situation, they're significantly better. But Allen is the X factor, and Peyton weighed in on trying to limit what he does in terms of damage.
He does so many things well. He's when you see him, the first time I really met him was at some golf course, and you realize how big he is and physical he is. So he's hard to bring down. He's powerful, and he's probably first in the league in second act explosives, where he climbs, moves, and then tracks somebody. So there's a lot that goes into that relative to defending him. He's got tremendous legs. He's a fantastic competitor. And so he was the difference when that game that was close last weekend. And here it is, the final drive. It's been a while since I've seen someone gain 7 yards on a sneak, but yeah, he's one of the stars of our league, and you see it year in and year out.
I mean, everyone's rooting for them, aren't they?
I don't know about everybody.
Unless you're a Patriots fan.
I was going to say 2/3 of this show might not be, or 2/3 of this show might be.
Who's not?
I'm not.
You don't want the Bills?
Not particularly.
Who are you rooting for in the AFC?
I guess chaos.
Well, that would be.
We're there.
I don't know if the Bills.
We're already there, brother.
The Bills, who spent the most money in the offseason to try to who spent the most money in the offseason, almost the most money in the offseason on free agents, to only have Josh Allen carrying them through the playoffs in a please save us Josh Allen moment in Denver. That's fun, but I don't know. I mean, I'm rooting for C.J. Stroud if you're talking about an AFC team. So I don't know. I'm not hoping that Buffalo gets it done tomorrow. I certainly didn't pick them that way either.
I'm guessing there are people around here with the Buckeye ties that are rooting for CJ and maybe the Patriots because of Vrabel. But I think it's interesting. You heard Sean Payton there talk about the one tush push that Buffalo used that went for like 10 yards
carried
or whatever.
Into the end zone, yeah.
Isn't it ironic that Buffalo was one of the teams leading the charge to get that ban, and they're using it as much as Philadelphia in this postseason so far?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. I'll tell you this. I don't know who has the AFC Championship game rights. I assume it's CBS. They usually do. They're rooting for Buffalo as big as possible. And it's crazy because it's the smallest market, but they are It's an easy story to tell, and they're known. They've knocked on this door a lot. Like you're one of your big gripes is with old boy with the Chargers that you're always going at.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
one of
Bake,
Bake's big
you
beefs.
hater.
But the reality is that like some of that is going to come back on Allen if he doesn't do it this year.
It's going to come
like
big
there is
time.
no Mahomes.
It's going to be worse for Allen.
There is no Lamar.
Big time.
It's time to go, and I think there's a little disservice there because I don't think this Buffalo team is as good as the ones he's had previously. They don't have as many weapons. They're not as good defensively. They don't. And so, but it's going to land at his feet if they can't get this done.
And you mentioned kind of needle movers because the 4 quarterbacks are Josh Allen, Bo Nix, Drake May, Stroud. Like national needle movers, it's only Josh. And then if you go to the NFC, you got some interest with Caleb Williams, but Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy aren't doing that.
Purdy's probably closer.
Yeah.
McCaffrey is a little closer. But yeah, no, there isn't that known commodity.
Bo, you talk about it all the time. We're not guaranteed anything as fans. And this Buffalo Bills team isn't guaranteed anything. And as you mentioned, they seem to be on a slippery slope here of sliding the wrong way with their roster and everything. That's why I've said for a while now, if it's not this year, when? For Josh Allen, and I don't know if it ever happens for him.
I agree.
If it doesn't happen this year, and then you're going to have a lot of people. It's always been Mahomes, right? That's the one. It's always been Mahomes, and for years in the AFC, you had to get through. There was 3 of them actually you had to get through. There was Brady, Manning, and Roethlisberger to some extent. Those were the 3 blocking the path for everyone else. So Phillip Rivers, you kind of get a pass because there was 3 of them you had to get through.
Yeah.
Well, it's been Mahomes, and Mahomes isn't here now. And the other 2 contenders at that position, at least, aren't here. So the Josh Allen overrated cries are going to be big time if they don't get it done this year.
The more I think about it, the more I only think I rooted for Josh Allen because he was directly going up against Patrick Mahomes. This wasn't a go Buffalo Bills. This was a please don't let the Kansas City Chiefs do it again.
No more from the Wizard. The other one is Sunday. It's 3:00. It's Houston and New England, 2 up-and-coming teams that aren't going anywhere anytime soon. The key to this whole thing is going to be CJ. He was so bad against Pittsburgh. He was asked how he's going to rebound from the poor performance. Here was his answer.
Yeah, I've learned a quote, don't love the love, don't hate the hate. Like things be up and down throughout your life, your career, whatever it is. I think that's just how life works in general. But especially in the position I'm in, everything is, criticized and everything is talked about. So, I've learned to, to stay what's important to me. That's my faith, my family, and then my teammates, and then myself, how I view myself. So, through failures and successes in this game from time I've been 16, with somewhat of a public eye, and when I went to Ohio State, same thing, like they would love me one week, hate me the next. So I'm well equipped with what is going on, and I'm excited to play this next game and just kind of keep the same even keel.
Take a shot at the lunatic fringe.
He did. Probably justifiably. I mean, he had one bad half against Minnesota, and they're like, we got to see Kyle McCord. I remember that vividly.
Those were dark days.
Those are dark days, man.
Hey, Bo, by the way, I know we got to get to Doug Lesmerises. Ohio State just picked up a wide receiver in the transfer portal from LSU, Kyle Parker, following his coach here to Ohio State.
Well, you know him well. What was his, what type of contribute? Do you have his, last season?
Pull it up here. 31 catches, 330 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He will have 3 years of eligibility left.
All right, let me just pull him up quickly here.
He's a redshirt junior, 5'11", 195 pounds.
So 4-star as a prospect out of Lucas, Texas. So there you go. So it sounds like that's happening. I have no idea. Great, I guess. I don't know. Is he better than Mylan Graham? Are you paying him less than you were going to pay Mylan Graham? Those are the things that's what's happening. That's the musical chair stuff I'm talking about.
He fit in the slice of pie that they had left to give. So
yeah, it's such a weird time. We'll talk to Doug about that and other things in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Leaky pipes, no hot water, issues with your sewer or drains? When plumbing problems strike, Logan Services is ready to help you out. We offer free estimates on water heaters, water softeners, and drain lines. Whether it's a surprise leak or an aging water tank, we'll give you an honest recommendation so you can take action fast. Don't wait. Schedule your free plumbing estimate now. Fast, friendly service you trust from Logan Services.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Loads and fees erode your retirement savings. Let us show you how to protect your nest egg. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
My mom is a veteran and she was injured in the line of duty.
I hurt my leg in a training accident when she was only 2 years old.
She had 7 different surgeries over the span of 9 years, and there were tons of complications.
I couldn't be the mom my kids needed me to be.
She missed so much.
After my last surgery, I got an infection so bad I thought it was going to kill me.
I told her she couldn't leave me yet. There was still so much she had to see. I hadn't even graduated.
I'm doing much better now. I may have lost my leg, but I've gained so much. I'm an active part of my kids' lives.
She can kick a mean soccer ball.
DAV's been there for me and my family. Through thick and thin, they've had our back.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans like Sandy get the health and disability benefits they've earned so they can achieve victories great and small.
My victory is getting my life back. I got my joy back.
We got our mom back, thanks to DAV.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hi, I'm Connie Britton. I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is, and one of our top men is our good buddy Doug Lesmerises, the Bill and Doug Show on YouTube, Bill and Doug, osu.substack.com. How are you taking in this transfer portal and what Ohio State has done so far?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of it as trades, right? And it's you almost go position by position, and you can just see them, whether by choice or necessity, trading youth and potential for experience and production. Mm-hmm. And it's the thing that we have arrived at, and we've been talking about on the Bill and Doug Show, is I really think fans should understand that the portal guys are not coming in to be your best guys. This is not Caleb Downs and Quinshon Judkins and Will Howard. They are coming in to fortify the team, to raise the floor, I think, to provide a foundation of experience to allow the guys that you have to flourish. So Edric Houston and Zion Grady and Devin Sanchez and guys like that, those are still who I think Ohio State is expecting to be their best defensive players, for instance, next year. But you bring in the 2 guys from Alabama, and you bring in the Central Florida defensive tackle, and you bring in the Wisconsin linebacker to fortify them, to allow them to have the best chance to just play because they don't have to be teaching anybody else what to do. You know what I mean? So I just think it's important for Ohio State fans to understand. I think there was consternation early in the portal. I think now Ohio State fans are like, okay, you know what? This kind of worked out okay. But now don't go too far and think that you've brought in all these superstars, because I don't think they're superstars, but I think they're good, solid pieces to allow the guys already here to have great seasons.
Yeah, I've been calling it musical chairs. You nailed it. You call it trade. That's exactly what it is. You're just picking. You're choosing the youth, the experience. You're just weighing that out. And I think it's so strange. I said earlier this week, buddy. Developed here is over. It's over. I mean, that's just not going to happen anymore. And I look at the guys who left, and I think about Milan Graham and Quincy Porter. Those are massive gets in recruiting. And in the old ways, you'd pay your dues. But they got into the portal, and now they're at Notre Dame. And I'd be curious, if in the recruiting cycle, were Milan and Quincy, were they considering Notre Dame? Were those was that a school that they were considering? Now they ended up there. They're going to play. They got compensated more, probably more richly than here. Let's not ignore the fact that agents only get paid if you do a new deal. right? That's the only way they get paid.
Right.
So there's that part of it too. Like if you're Tigger Shabola and you're going to go start at Kentucky, even if it's for a couple, if whatever it's worth more, tens of thousands more, maybe even 100,000 more, is that going to be worth it in the long run? That's and it goes the other way too. I could say the same about the Alabama kids or the Georgia defensive back, all of that. It's just such a different world we're living in where developed here is almost extinct.
But again, I mean, who's going to like you're still going to look when you look at who's going to really matter for Ohio State. Yes, Terry Moore and Earl Little are going to start, but Jalen McClain is going to be needs to be the star at safety, right? I mean, needs to be the guy who really makes the jump, right? And yeah, you brought in a couple corners, but it's still really going to be about Devin Sanchez, and it's still going to really be about Riley Pettijohn at linebacker, even though you brought in Allegro, and it's still going to really be, Edric Houston needs to be an all Big Ten type of player next year, right? I mean, I do. Yeah. So I don't want, because we had a lot of fans asking us, like, man, what's the point of you following recruiting? I loved following recruiting. Now it's a waste of time. And again, I think, like, I understand the frustration, and Quincy Porter, Mylan Graham, but the offensive line is, when Josh Padilla, Luke Montgomery, and Austin Servelt signed here, that was a big deal. Those three Ohio offensive linemen. 2 are going to start and 1 might start next year. Like, so there's still enough. Like, if you want to follow recruiting, I think you still can. Just don't make everybody who signed with Ohio State your new best friend.
Yeah, and I think the big difference will be what I think is going to happen at the blue blood places like Ohio State and Texas and those. What I think is going to happen there is going to be you're going to have 4 or 5 guys who you're going to spend a premium on who you need them to come in and play. So this is your Chris Henry. Like, Chris Henry needs to start. He needs to start. They're compensating him that way. He really needs to start. So that's the thing that he has to do. And then I think you're going to have like 10 guys who maybe aren't regarded that way, but are guys who I had a guy tell me this one time. There's a currency to being here. There's a currency to being a Buckeye, that there still is that. And those are probably going to be predominantly Ohioans. And then I think you're going to do this every year in the portal where you go shopping in the portal a little bit.
I do think, Devin Sanchez had a real role on this defense this year, right?
Yes, he did.
He wasn't a starter, but he was in the dime package. He played 300 snaps. He started when Lorenzo Styles was hurt. Like, he played a lot. He had some bumps. I talked to him at the bowl game. He knows he had some bumps. He said it was up and down. And I think people watching is like, man, like this young freshman, that actually is a blueprint. Mm-hmm. Like, you get a 5-star corner from Texas, and you get him to come to Ohio State. You can't bury him. You got to play that guy. And now he's going to elevate into a starting spot in year 2. And so I think one of the part of these things, you're going to have to, as you said with Chris Henry Jr., is somebody, right? You brought in 2 veteran receivers, but somebody young's going to have to play. Mm-hmm. There might be some bumps. You also, I think, have to prepare for some bumps from younger guys, which is why it's also nice to have a couple older guys, right? So you add a couple veteran receivers. You still have Jeremiah Smith. You're not saying Chris Henry has to play 700 snaps, but he better not play 40, right? That guy's got to be on the field. So I think, like, as you need to play first and second year guys, you've got to play those 5-stars when they're first and second year guys. 4 to 5 with some veteran portal guys, and you start to build a roster that just is a little bit different puzzle pieces, but I think they can still fit together.
Yeah, and I think this is probably one of the benefits for a lot of the folks. We spend most of our time talking about the Buckeyes, of course, but like for a lot of college football fans around the country, and it's the second most popular sport in this country by 100 miles, parity has happened, Doug. I mean, Indiana's playing Miami in the national title game. Like, look at the teams who make the playoff. Look at the teams who are active in the portal. Like, you're seeing that. You had Vanderbilt had a Heisman finalist. The quarterback at Indiana won it. Like, there are more teams who can contend than ever in the history of this sport.
And I can't remember if I said this on this show last week or one of our shows. We talk about the flattening of the sport, right? Mm-hmm. What does that actually mean? Ohio State's one of the teams to be flattened. That's how you flatten the sport. You knock the big dogs, you knock them off their pedestal. So there's this theoretical discussion around college football. Man, there's more opportunity. You expand the playoff. The portal, NIL, creates opportunity. There is more parity. Teams are rising up that are never here before. Well, it's not just rising up. You've got to knock down. Mm-hmm. It's not only a rise up. Well, who are you knocking down? There's really only like 5 teams worth knocking down, and Ohio State is definitely one of them. So the world where I can't believe Mylan Graham or Quincy Porter are gone, that's the plan. That's what everybody's saying. Like, now they went to Notre Dame, so they went to another blue blood. But, like, you spread this out. Aaron Scott and, Bryce West is going to go to Wisconsin instead of being on the Ohio State depth chart. That's the whole point. So that's a hard thing for Ohio State fans, that what is happening to the sport, what's happening is exactly what's supposed to happen, which is bringing Ohio State down a notch. It doesn't mean they can't win a national title, but it's going to be a little harder.
It is, and you're going to have losses along the way too. And I think that's the other thing, is we're all going to have to get used to, a couple of losses, a loss in the regular season, 2 losses in the regular season, and it doesn't mean you're not going to contend for a title. It just means there's going to be some bumps because you're not going to have the organizational depth that you used to have, and that's something that's going to play out that way as well. Which, by the way, brings us to the national championship game on Monday. It's pretty amazing how Indiana in these 2 years has dodged the injury bug almost entirely, Doug. I mean, almost nothing. Yeah. They just, and they're very old. Everyone's talked about it. You and I have talked about it. But they have somehow gotten to this point where they've lost 2 games in 2 years and largely healthy.
Yeah, they had an offensive line injury, I think, last year. I mean, Elijah Surratt was out part of the year this year, and they had a 4th receiver rise up in Charlie Becker that Ohio State did not have the equivalent rise up when they had their receiver injuries. I mean, Charlie Becker was nothing, and now Charlie Becker's having 100 receiving yards per game. So, but like, offensive line injuries can kill you. That's like, there are certain things, right? And especially one of the things with a program like Indiana is they don't have the depth. Like, can they go 1 through 22, 1 through 25, 1 through 30 with Ohio State? Yes. If you really get down into it, maybe it would have been a problem, but they've been able to do that. And now, all the discussion around Cignetti, do they practice a little less? Like, is he very cognizant of, like, keeping his guys fresh in his own way? That seems to be also a plan. But also luck matters. But that's the whole point. Like, yes, the top line of them, it can compete, obviously, is as good as anybody. But sometimes, 4 bad injuries can really ruin your season.
You give Miami a chance Monday night?
No. I mean, I think, again, like, just having rewatched Ohio State, Miami, there's just enough there that, like, was a Ohio State, like, bad matchup, self-inflicted. I came away a little less like, oh, my God, this defensive line for Miami is a game wrecker. But the bottom line is the things that they had the advantage on with Ohio State, and that's the discussion point for all of us, is offensive line and, like, a young quarterback. And I just think Indiana's offensive line will be able to handle it. Mendoza will move when he needs to. He's 2 years older than Julian. He's seen it. Julian saying hadn't seen it, right? So I think they'll be able to handle that. And then what Miami did to Ole Miss's defense, they won't be able to do to Indiana's defense. So they've blown everybody out. I'm not sure why this isn't a blowout.
I mean, it's 8.5. So as national title, I mean, that's relatively big. I'm with you, though. I think it could get that way, too. It's hard to imagine it any other way. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully you get a competitive game on Monday night. Appreciate you as always, buddy.
Thanks, brother. I'll see you.
All right, there he goes. Doug Lesmerises, the Bill and Doug Show on YouTube. Bill and Doug, OSU.substack.com. We'll do 3 things on a Friday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer, or Wegmans.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
Enjoy more ways to save at Kroger, like low prices in every aisle. And you can clip and save more with digital coupons in the Kroger app. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. So it's always easy to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply. See site for details.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Tri-State Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Tri-State Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have successfully stress rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654. That's 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 2 convenient locations in the area to serve you in Hilliard and Westerville.
Matty Ice here. It's a new year, so why not start it off with a new car from McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion, where the savings are rolling all month long. You can lease a brand new 26 Chevy Equinox LT for just $279 a month for 36 months with $3,369 due at signing, or if financing is more your style, grab it for only $399 a month for 96 months with $1,000 due at signing. Terms and restrictions apply. They're just off Route 23095 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
My name is DeMar Hamlin. I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as a national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers. Through CPR education and access to AEDs, nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live longer, healthier lives. Visit heart.org/nation.
It's a playoff Sunday doubleheader on the Fan. The Texans and Patriots kick things off at 2:30 with the Rams and Bears in the nightcap.
Sponsored by Roosters, a fun casual joint.
Your radio home of the NFL, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Bet365 is paying out before the final whistle.
Check out Bet365's unrivaled early payout offer. When you bet on a team to win and they take a 17-point lead, you get paid no matter the final score. Forget the final whistle and start counting that cash. Hold up. You get early payout on parlays, too.
Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
Wrinkles, gray hair, and hearing loss are common signs of getting older. But being short of breath, having tightness in your chest, coughing, and wheezing are not. If you are experiencing these symptoms, you may be one of the millions of people who are living with a condition called COPD but don't know it. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years of better breathing to your life. For more information, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The best hair on the air. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hi, Reese. What do we have on the poll today?
All right, so when I say upset, I mean the betting favorite gets upset in the game. Daily Fan Poll asks, which team do you think is most likely to pull off an upset this weekend in the NFL's divisional round? So far, 41% of you think the Bills are going to beat the Broncos. 26% say the Texans will beat the Patriots. 21% say Bears over Rams. And just 10% 49ers over Seattle.
There you go. Time for 3 things on a Friday. Hit it, fellas.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
All right, number 1 for me. This was one of the more fascinating things I read this morning. So this is a story that is published yesterday. It's still online at NewYorkPost.com. Never before seen footage of uncontacted Amazonian tribes shared by conservationists. And there's video. They've never seen a human before. And so I'm reading this story. There's upwards of 200 of these tribes that are cruising around in the Amazon that have never seen another human. And the guy, how's that possible? That's still the case. And I guess apparently it's only in Brazil and Peru are the 2 places where it's deep enough that you can get in there, that there's folks who have never seen people. They have video of them. They got images of it. There's an accounting of how they identify a human and how it all goes. Here's a great quote. He says, this is the guy who actually discovered them. Quote, "These are warriors. It really looked like they're ready for violence. And now they're all standing relaxed and smiling." Just a crazy story. Nearly 200 uncontacted groups still exist globally, most of them in the Amazon, across Brazil and Peru. Fascinating story.
Bo, I read something about a group of people. This was a couple months ago. Like, if you even get a boat within so many feet of their island, they're throwing spears at you.
It's
like
amazing.
they are choosing violence right away because all they know is this island and the people that have been on it the whole time.
Yeah, I'll make this my first one. There's a Hulu documentary of a Christian missionary going to an island in the Indian Ocean that, much to what you're saying, Baker, is where even the Indian government's like, do not go here. And he went here and was not seen again.
You were warned.
If they tell you do not go here, do not go there.
It just seems impossible to me that there's places still on the globe that are undiscovered. It's amazing. Like running a society that's completely devoid of any technology at all.
No Twitter? What's that like?
Better.
My first thing, the Utah Jazz are one of the worst teams in the NBA. They are not very good at all. But Bryce Sensabaugh has had him a couple of games here recently. 2 games ago, he had 43 points in their loss to the Chicago Bulls. Last night, he followed that up with 27 points in their loss to the Dallas Mavericks. In the month of January, Sensabaugh's minutes have picked up 9 minutes a game, and his points have ticked up 10 points a game from 8.8 in December to 18.9. The former Buckeye maybe turning a corner a little bit here with the Utah Jazz. And I know there were a lot of issues with the end of the Chris Holtmann era. I think one of the things that really hurt Chris Holtmann was the success of Malachi Branham turning into a one and done, and then Bryce Sensabaugh also being a one and done. Because if that was not the case, they were planning on having Branham here for at least 2 years. That means Branham and Sensabaugh would have played together for at least one. I think those 2 one-and-dones really derailed the end of Chris Holtmann's time here at Ohio State.
There's no question that there's a lot of responsibility that falls at Holtmann's feet for all of that. But at the same time, yes, there was no scenario where Malachi Branham was going to be a first-round pick coming out of St. Vincent St. Mary. None. 0. And he played himself into that. I don't know how it's going for him. Sensabaugh could always fill it up. He could always shoot it. And so one other thing on Utah's bad. So that helps too. Someone's got to score on bad teams. But good job out of him, to say the least. Number 2 for me, this kind of sums up where we are in college football. And I think it also is another example of a new rivalry that's going to have a lot of juice to it. So I don't know if you saw this or not, but Bob's buddy, Jason Witten, signed on to be the tight ends coach at Oklahoma. So Jason Witten is a Tennessee grad. Tennessee is, of course, coached by Josh Heupel, who is an Oklahoma legend. So already there's a little bit of animosity between the two of them. I saw this yesterday. Former Tennessee tight end Jack Van Dorshaar committed to OU the day after Witten signed to be the tight ends coach at OU. So this would be like threes going to coach linebackers at Wisconsin and bringing Pettijohn and Pierce and stealing them with. That's kind of what happened here. He went against alma mater. It's a pretty wild story, and it's one of those things that's only going to make that rivalry even better by the time you get to it next year, because there are no friends and no loyalties in college football as we currently live in the world.
Second thing for me, on a press tour for Avatar 3, James Cameron admitted he needs to find a cheaper way to make the Avatar films so he can make Avatars 4 and 5. So I haven't seen the second one or the third one. Avatar 3 runs 3 hours and 17 minutes. So I'm going to be out on that. It cost him $350 million to $400 million to make. So it made over a $1.2 billion in a month. I think it's a pretty good return on it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know we needed Avatars 4 and 5.
The first one's awesome, and there's a kids edit of it on Disney Plus that takes out some of the stuff. So if you have little kids that want to see it, you can watch it there. It's really cool.
Maybe he should ask some boosters for NIL money. And
he's a booster. Yeah, you got to figure out where James Cameron went to college.
So I just noticed that tomorrow at the Ohio State game, they're playing UCLA at the Shot at 1. At halftime, they're having corgi races. When did corgi races become a thing? My buddy that lives in Kansas City has a corgi, and he's taken him to corgi races before. Corgi races are all over the place now, and I don't understand it. Why are we having corgi races all the time?
I don't know why they picked that specific breed. My hunch is small, manageable. Even if they get out of control, they can't do too much damage.
Yep.
That's my guess. So it's kind of like wiener dog races.
Dogs that can be corralled if they run amok.
Yeah, they're not going to go take anybody out.
I don't know if I've ever seen a fast corgi.
Well, that's part of it too. You can always catch them.
You got a lab running around. You're not sprinting past to get that thing.
You're not catching Buddy Garrity running around at 83 miles an hour. You unleash him at the shot, you're going to knock over 6 rows of people.
Greyhound takes 3 strides and he's past the court.
Odie's putting people on injured reserve if he's sprinting past anybody.
There's no question. Finally, number 3. So there's a Game of Thrones series that debuts this Sunday on HBO, and I've continued to say I have no interest in any more of the Game of Thrones content. I'm just kind of out on it. That being said, if it's 9 o'clock and I'm bouncing around, I'm definitely going to see how they did the Open. I'm definitely going to see that. So
yeah, I think the Night of the Seven Kingdoms there's some interest there.
I'm curious to see how much.
Right, what the hell is Sunday night? Out of the corrections department, I think I made it seem earlier in the show that I didn't think the Ravens had a first-round draft pick. I didn't know where they were picking because I'm just not used to seeing them pick before 20. They've got the 14th overall selection, and it's where we are in the NFL. I'm like, no, the Ravens aren't picking in the teens. That's silly.
Weren't they picking 14th when they picked Kyle Hamilton? For some reason, I feel like that was the 14th pick in the draft.
If I'm looking for where the Ravens or the Chiefs or any of these teams are picking, I'm looking in the 20s, not the teens.
The Chiefs at 9 is really
digits
weird.
To get Caleb
Or 10.
Downs.
Yeah.
Final thing for me, don't go anywhere. Rothman and Ice coming up next. Sometime in the 1 o'clock hour, they're going to have Hockey and Hounds with Damon Severson. Talk a little bit about this 3-game winning streak the Jackets are on. Then all things Buckeye football at 2:30 with Dave Biddle of Bucknuts.
You have that to look forward to, which is nice. Have a great weekend, everybody. We're back Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the Ohio State conversation you can handle. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Your Ohio